All right, everyone. We are here, week 2, Bengals home opener. Jaguars at the Bengals. It is a all orange out at the stadium. So if you're there, you're super lucky. I'm super jealous. If not, and you're here with me, we'll have some fun. We'll rock out. We'll analyze what we got going on here. And I'll be like a second screen experience for you, second voice. We are also, if you have TikTok and you are going to be on the go today, check out my TikTok feed, which is about to go live right now. Let's go live and introduce the TikTok audience. Okay, so maybe a little technical difficulty here. What's up, Bengals fans? If you're watching this, you're hoping to get some additional analysis and reaction to the Bengals game. You can either follow me on the YouTube channel. You can follow me now. Today is the first on TikTok. So happy that you're here regardless. As you can see on TikTok, it looks like I'm at the stadium, which would be super awesome. Hopefully you get a chance to go out to see a game this year. So I may be going back and forth from camera to camera since TikTok and Apple aren't really the best of friends right now. We are still a few minutes away from kickoff. Want to talk to you about some things going into this game. Last week, I think the big surprise, two big surprises. One, the offense was nothing like we hoped, but I think we know from the past that week 1 at Cleveland, strange things happen, and usually it happens to the offense. So the run game got started and off to a really good start. The passing game was able to – so Bengals scored twice, 2 touchdowns in their first 3 drives, and after that, they went dormant. They scored a field goal because they forced a turnover in the third quarter and were able to regain the lead and then hold on for dear life. The other surprise in regards to last week was the fact that the defense won that game. The defense carried them to a win, closed things out, was incredible against the run. We know the Browns' identity. The Browns' identity was and is to run the ball right through you. And the Bengals defense held them to 49 yards on the game. I don't think any of us, based on what we saw in the preseason, expected that sort of result, even based on last year. Now, what they did was they added some beef in the middle of the defensive line. Defensive tackle TJ Slayton, defensive tackle Mike Pennell, Shamar Stewart in the first round, who is a very good run-stopping defensive end. Those guys, they got after it and held the Browns down to the 49 yards we talked about. So what happens this week remains to be seen, but we know that new Jags head coach Liam Cohen is a run-the-ball guy. We saw that in Tampa, what he was able to do with 2 backs. We saw what they did last week against the Panthers running the ball. The Jaguars are going to come in here and they're going to try to run the ball, and we may see them running it right into the strength of this Bengals defense. I mean, that's at least what I think we're hoping. And the Bengals defense have a repeat performance and get out to an early lead so that they can unleash some of that pass rush. We saw the pass rush in the second half. After our first half, had no pressures. In the second half, a pair of sacks, one by B.J. Hill, one by Trey Hendrickson, but we saw a lot of pressure. Shamar Stewart got his fair amount of pressures. They're going to need that today against Trevor Lawrence. And this, there's some talented young Jaguars receivers on this team. They got the number 2 overall pick in Travis Hunter. He's supposed to play more on defense this week than he did last week, but still be heavily involved in the game plan on offense. We know Brian Thomas Jr., after his rookie year last year, is a threat Um, we'll see. We'll see how things go here. Let's go to X here and kind of take the vibe um, on what's going on social media here. Orange jerseys, not the all orange look I think we thought we might be getting earlier um, when this game was announced, but either way, orange jerseys for a home opener sort of feels like this is going to be something that is a tradition. Orange out looking good. Here's a look from Obscure Bengals at the stadium. Yeah, it's a whole lot of orange today. Hopefully, leading this team, helping lead this team to victory. Joe Goodberry shouting out "Hooday, Hooday" to all you Bengals fans joining right now. Appreciate you, and thanks to everyone that helped get me to the TikTok follower list, so that I was able to now go live and bring you this live stream during the game. Speaking of the game, it's still in commercial break. We are waiting for the opening kick from Cincinnati. For you college football fans, the coaches poll seems to be out. Top 15, the Ohio State Buckeyes, no surprise there. They are at number 1, getting a large majority of the first place votes. LSU, so Georgia with a big win in overtime over Tennessee. They got one. LSU got one. Oregon looks like they fell down a spot, although that might just be their AP ranking. They were previously number 4. Let's see. What else? Oh, here's some good stats going into this game. The last 2-0 start, I wanted to bring this up as well. The last 2-0 start for the Bengals was 2018. That is also the last time they won, period, week 2. That was a Thursday night game. I was actually at that game, which was awesome. That was over the Baltimore Ravens. Remember, A.J. Green, 3 touchdowns in that game. So that is the last time, 2018. Zach Taylor has never led this Bengals team to a win on week 2. And we're getting a nice look at the field here, and the fans really came through with the all orange. Here's a look at the inactives. Very similar to last week. Marco Wilson, Jermaine Burton, tight end Cam Grandy, and a pair of defensive tackles, McKinley Jackson and Howard Cross. So I believe that is the exact same group that we saw a week ago. Yeah, Zach Taylor had asked for the fans to get there early. Sam Hubbard, your ruler of the jungle this week. Looks like he may have whipped that crowd into a frenzy. That actually just looked like Exotic Joe was at the game. I know Zach Joe's still in prison, but man, there's a guy at the stadium that looks just like him. All right, looks like the Jaguars will get first crack at things, and we are off. Jaguars get a decent return. They're going to start the ball at the 30. Big tackle on the big hit on the return, kind of sent the returner up in the air. So Trevor Lawrence and the Jags come out, and we're gonna see right away. Let's see how this defense looks again in week 2. They had a very nice performance week 1. Kind of a mixed bag for Trevor Lawrence last week. Close to just over 50%, 178 yards, a tutty, and a pick. So far, the crowd is really loud. First play is a completion. BTJ, about 7 yards. It's going to be interesting. One of the things to watch, obviously, is Cam Taylor-Britt didn't have the best, probably the worst performance of any of the defensive players last week. Cam Taylor-Britt went to Al Golden this week, said, hey, I know I need to be better. I'm going to be better. And we would really need to see him be better this week. Would love to see a 3-and-out here on the first drive. That would be huge too. and incomplete. They tried to throw a screen, and they didn't do a very good job. They're trying to get the ball to Etienne on the screen, on the flip out, but it was a bad pass by Trevor Lawrence. I think the pass rush got there and rushed that throw a little bit. So a 3rd and 3. We'll see if we can get our first opening drive 3 and out of the season. That would be nice. Last week, the Bengals were able to get a 3rd down guy. There he is. Last week, the Bengals were able to get a 3 and out on the second drive. But lots of time for Lawrence. Nice pass downfield. De'Ami Brown, that's sorry, guys, if that went black on you right there. All right, Lawrence back to throw again. Man, wide open. We saw a lot of this early on last week where zones were really soft. Guys were open, especially earlier in the game before things sort of settled down for them. I'm not sure what happened to StreamYard, but it crapped out here and everything is reset to factory settings almost. No, definitely don't want that. There we go. All right, here's a short run, couple yards here on first down for Etienne. Nice stop there by Logan Wilson and company. Going to be interesting to see, throughout the game, got to get off the field. They can't have these long, prolonged drives like Cleveland was able to have last week, where they really, really dominated the time of possession. Thankfully, the Bengals scored a couple of touchdowns earlier in the game. 2nd and 7 here for the Jaguars, who are just outside the red zone. Trey Hendrickson not in there. Osai out there, but another sideline route, and that looks like that was just a miscommunication. Trevor Lawrence had nobody downfield. Looked like he might have been trying to hit the tight end, but they were not on the same page. As the tight end broke out, oh, that's what happened. Tight end got bumped. He fell down, complained. 3rd and 7, huge 3rd down. Love just to see them hold them to a field goal here on this opening drive, as they're already inside the 30, just outside the red zone. Maybe Trey Hendrickson back on the field. So they're going with a line right now of Hendrickson and Shamar Stewart lined up next to each other. Chris Jenkins out there, Joseph Osai. Defensive backs were looking to Jags call timeout, so we are going to get a 30-second timeout here. But they were looking like they were going to play bump and run here. They were really going to jam them at the line and hope that the pass rush got home, because it hasn't. Trevor Lawrence has been pretty clean. Other than that screen pass that rushed him a little bit, he's had a lot of time to throw. So a huge 3rd and 7 here coming up. Let's see if the Bengals can get off the field and force a field goal attempt for the Jaguars. About 12 minutes, a little over 12 minutes left here in the first quarter. This is the opening drive for Jacksonville. Hoping to see a defensive stop here and force a field goal attempt. Don't want teams eating up so much clock. Bengals, they're bringing some pressure here. Lawrence still has time. Picked up the blitz. Demetrius Knight makes a tackle, but not before Strange gets a first down. So the drive continues. Once again, we're seeing these prolonged drives here, and this one to start the game. They brought pressure. We didn't see. They blitzed the least amount in the NFL last week. week 1 against the Browns. We saw pressure here, and Travis Hunter has a package, little handoff. It's going to get them about 4 yards here on first down. As they are closing in, I think they're right at the 10-yard line now. Just going to bring up a 2nd and 6. Last week, Bengals were fortunate to get a pair of turnovers, but those came via tip passes up in the air. So Jaguars just inside the 10-yard line here on a 2nd and 6. They can get a first down at about the 4-yard line. Play action. Lawrence, little bit of pressure, but throws a touchdown. There it is. De'Ami Brown, opening drive touchdown. 2 weeks in a row. Got to clean that shit up. Brought pressure, picked it up. Maybe that's why Al Golden wasn't bringing the blitz last week, because he's afraid of the only guy that got home or that got any kind of pressure on that play was Joseph Osai, but that was way too late. All the blitzers got picked up. DJ Turner in coverage. Touchdown, Jaguars, opening drive. Definitely not the way you wanted to see this start. Obviously, a lot of game left. It was a 9-play drive, 69 yards. Last week, lots of drives, 9 or more plays for Cleveland. So far, through 5 quarters, it's definitely been an issue. 7-0. I think some people predicted, a bit of a shootout here, and a lot of fantasy experts said, hey, take anybody in fantasy that's playing the Bengals defense. The Fantasy Live on NFL Network crew was very high on the Jaguars this week. And to be perfectly honest, the Bengals didn't do much to shut that narrative down. So now we're going to go to X here. We'll take a look at what people are saying online. Hopefully no crash outs after one drive, although, it's obviously unfortunate the way things have started here. Definitely not what we wanted to see as Bengals fans. Let's take a look at what's going on. Joe Goodberry says De'Ami Brown's one of the best third-round receivers in the league, but you're right. You need to win those matchups. Oh, Travis Kelce cried proposing to Taylor Swift. Don't care. Paul Daner Jr. Says Jaguars 7, Bengals 0. Bengals coverage, not great. I'd agree. Not great. Whether it was zone or in man, Bengals coverage was soft. Guys were open. Bengals pass rush, really not great. I would also agree. Clean pockets. Trevor Lawrence, not rushed at all throughout that drive, was able to hit guys downfield. Golden tried to blitz on a 3rd and long. It didn't get home. We saw that. We talked about how last week Al Golden was very reluctant to call the blitz for whatever reason, whether that was game plan or personnel. He did it this time. Nobody got home. De'Ami Brown runs away from DJ Turner thanks to having all day to throw for the touchdown. So 9 plays, 69 yards, 4:09 o'clock. We know how good this Bengals offense can be. They've just got to get a chance to be on the field. And if the defense cannot get off of it and give their offense some time, some possessions. Last week, only truly 3 possessions in the first half. That 4th possession was, the Bengals got the ball with like 30 seconds. Can't really count that as a full possession. So we're going to need to see a lot better on defense to go here. We are back from break. Joe Burrow about to get out on the field, about to get this next kickoff. If you're rocking with us on TikTok for the first time, so happy to have you on board. I'm so happy to be a part of this TikTok live forum. Yeah, we need still a lot of game. Need some more optimism. I agree. All right. Bengals get the ball for the first time in week 2. Joe Burrow leading the team out here. He's got in the shotgun with Chase Brown. Chase Brown last week, that first drive looked really good. Ended in a Chase Brown rushing touchdown. Maybe we can get the run game going here and limit the clock. So Jaguars bring pressure off the edge from the secondary on the first play. Helps stop this run for a gain of maybe 1. Second and 9, maybe 10 here. They're going to call it 9. Burrow back to throw here. Pressured, and the ball's batted away by Josh Hines-Allen. Are they calling it a fumble? The ball rolled into the end zone, but it looks like they're going to call that incomplete. I don't know. That's might get a look. There was a lot of pressure on that play. So they're showing the replay here. Yeah, Burrow's arm is coming forward. He also gets hit in the head again. Are we ever going to get a penalty when Joe Burrow gets hit in the head? Every other quarterback gets it. Last week, we saw him take a guy tried to rip his face mask off, and the famous photo with the referee looking right at it, and no penalty. So 3rd and 9. Bengals got to do something. It looks like there's a red challenge flag on the field. If this is Liam Cohen challenging this, maybe he's challenging the fact that he thought that the pass was a lateral throw, because Burrow's arm's clearly going forward. So maybe we get a few replays here before the TV crew goes to break. But they're going to take a look at this. And it does sound like they're going to break. But on Silva's, just like NFL Red Zone, we don't do commercials. Although they kind of do commercials now. They did a couple last week. When I was there, we didn't do commercials. All right, so let's look at what some of the things got going on. Let's see what people are saying. If anyone's commenting on if they think this is going to be. Natty King saying that's absolutely a fumble. Bengals are probably going to be down by 14 points. We'll see. The arm was coming forward. It's going to be tough. They're going to have to decide and determine whether they thought Burrow was making a lateral throw or not. I think that's going to be too tough to prove. I think you're going to still get a 3rd and 9. The Bengals are going to keep possession, but they're going to have to clean up that protection. Jacksonville bringing a lot of pressure on the first 2 plays of the game. So Paul Daner Jr. is saying Jaguars take the risk with the challenge. Worth it based on how close it was and the potential of what they would gain. But that would be a pair of timeouts. If they've already called one, and if they don't get this, they'll lose a timeout. So they'll be down a pair of timeouts real early. All right, Bengals back from game is back from break here. 3rd and 9. Yeah, so the receiver, it wasn't a lateral throw. The receiver was trying to hit Sample, who was easily 2 yards downfield. The arm was coming forward. That must have been a pretty easy call for the official. But 3rd and 9 for the Bengals. Jaguars showing like they're bringing some pressure here. With 3rd and 9, we're going to need someone to win quick downfield, and the pressure gets home. Burrow escapes the first one and then gets tripped up and sacked. So not a good way to start here. Lots of pressure on Burrow. a run for 1 yard. So 3 plays, 1 yard. So they brought a defensive back and a linebacker. So they had a 6-man rush. There's got to be somebody open. Somebody's got to win one-on-one down there. And that's not the way you want to start after giving up a first play drive for a touchdown. Wow. Broadcast going to a commercial ad already in the middle of the play. So Bengals punt, short return, nice coverage downfield. Jaguars coming out for their second possession here. It's about 9 minutes left in the game. Last week we saw a 3-and-out on the Browns second drive. Hopefully you get a 3-and-out here on the Jags second drive. Follow with some symmetry. Third down guy going crazy already. We need a first down guy and a second down guy to fire up the crowd on every down. Bengals go with a big look up front. TJ Slayton in there at D tackle next to BJ Hill. Say handoff, nice cutback by the Jaguars back. They're going to get about 4 or 5 yards on first down. Last week, the Browns did not have a run of over 5 yards. So far today, they've had a pair of I think they've had 3 runs of 6 or more. So unable to replicate that success early at this point. Second and 4. If you're going to get a 3-and-out, this is a huge down here. Maybe force another incompletion, but quick throw, easy first down. Logan Wilson with the stop, but a yard past the marker. Jags get a new set of downs. And right now, they're basically doing whatever they want. No pressure, soft coverage, good runs on first down. They just showed a shot of Burrow on the sideline who didn't look happy at all. Saw something on the iPad that really pissed him off there. So I think he might have missed something on that blitz. Play action here for Lawrence, but it's actually dumping off to a screen. BJ Hill can't make the tackle, and we're off to the races here. This is a big 20-yard gain for the Jaguars. And things have not looked good on defense to start this game. BJ Hill, the guy literally runs right through his arms. $24 yards pick up on that play. Jags into Bengals territory in field goal range already. Real quick on this drive, something's got to start happening for the defense. A run play, and again, 5-6 yards on every carry. We're not seeing a lot of the replicated success we saw last week against Cleveland. Could really use a turnover here, interception. You don't want to get to the point where we're begging for holding to field goals, but 10-0 would sound a lot better than 14-0 at this point. And the way they're moving the ball, I don't know if we're going to see a field goal attempt. More play action. Trevor Lawrence deep downfield, big play. There'd be a 1st and goal after a nice catch. DJ Turner in coverage there. And DJ Turner got mossed by a little guy. Just no ability, late to get his head around, no ability to get up and fight for that ball. DJ Turner was one of the highest graded defensive players and corners for the Bengals last week. That's not going to help his grade this week. 1st and goal from the 10. Again, got to hold to a field goal or this gets real ugly real fast. And Trevor Lawrence, Bengals make a nice play. Cam Taylor breaks up the ball in the end zone, throws up a seatbelt. Those are the types of plays that we need. That's the sticky coverage, the getting your hand on the pass before it gets to the receiver. Those are the things that this defense needs to be doing. We haven't seen that early on here. Second and goal for the Jags. This time they do hand it off. Etienne, short run, maybe a yard and a half, maybe 2. Looks like they'll probably give him 2 on this. This will be 3rd and goal from the 8. That's the run stop we need. Those are the plays that we saw last week. The short runs, for little to no gain. Huge 3rd down here for the Bengals defense. 3rd and goal for the Jaguars from the 8. Have to hold to a field goal attempt. Can't let this game slip away and get out in front too big, too quick. Trey Hendrickson out there. Shamar Stewart rushing from the inside. Oh, picked off in the end zone. Dax Hill. Pressure on the play. A soft throw into the end zone. Easy interception for Dax Hill. That's the turnover we needed. No points for the Jags on that drive. Trey Hendrickson with the pressure on that got to Trevor Lawrence right as he was throwing. Beat his man real easy. And that's an easy interception for Dax Hill. Goes up, makes the play. Huge. Let's turn some of that momentum into some offense now. Bengals are going to get the ball at the 20 now on the touchback. Huge play by Dax Hill. Secondary comes through again. All right, let's take a look at some reaction here on the internet after that. What are people saying about that turnover? The pressure and the hit leads to a turnover. Shocker. Trey made that play happen. Give Dax credit for completing the play. Absolutely. Jaguars carve up the Bengals, but get a huge stop from Dax Hill. I'm trying to scoot by these highlights on X as fast as I can because I did get some copyright claims for maybe sitting on them too long last week. Can't get those copyright claims. Dax, LFG, free money. Let's go. Jake Lisco chiming in. Jacksonville gifts the Bengals a 3rd and goal look from the 9 after a 2nd and long run. Stewart was aligned on the inside of Trey. Trey gets one-on-one and hurries a terrible ball from Lawrence that Dax Hill collects for a takeaway. Come on, Jake, be a little positive there. They forced that turnover. Come on, bro. See what pressure does for your defense? Absolutely. Look what the pressure did last week. In the first half, they didn't get one pressure, and they watched the Browns eat the entire game clock. In the second half, things changed. Pressure led to turnovers. Pressure led to punts, and the Bengals pulled out a win. Got to get pressure. Jesse Ross, Hendrickson causing the pressure, and Dax gives me that ball. That's right. Paul Diener Jr., that's the Trey Hendrickson effect. A major turn of events. That's why you pay that guy. That's why you want him in Cincinnati in stripes. That's huge. The Bengals wake up right now and take advantage. Hendrickson with the pressure forces Lawrence to unload early on 3rd and goal. Dax Hill comes down with a critical INT. That was one play away from leaving the Bengals down 14-0. Instead, Joe Burrow gets a chance. We're also getting a chance to look at Sam Hubbard as the ruler of the jungle, as he was earlier today, which was a really awesome moment. I'm sure if you got to be at the stadium for that. Gotta love Mr. Ohio, Sam Hubbard, right? The fumble in the jungle. So many great memories. All right, Bengals on offense here. Burrow's first throw downfield is a completion, I believe, to Jamar Chase. Oh, they're going to wave that and say he was juggling last week. Lots of great throws to the sideline and Bengals receivers that we always count on not staying in bounds and making the catch along the sideline. Joe, we saw that play last week, Miles. Here's the look at this one. Jamar bobbles it, going out of bounds. Would have been a first down, would have been 12 yards. Instead, it's incomplete. Didn't have control, and we're looking at a 2nd and 10. Can't have those. We expect Jamar, we expect T to make these catches in bounds. Chase, nice cutback. Chase Brown, nice stiff arm. He runs ahead. He gets the 12 yards that Jamar didn't convert, and a fresh set of downs for this Bengals offense. Nice read right out the gate, and then a nice stiff arm downfield on the defensive back, Chase Brown. Nice play. 12 yards. New set of downs. Hopefully we can continue, get that running back, running game going. I can't give you highlights, unfortunately, or I will get copyrighted. Okay, here we got a completion to Chase as he goes out of bounds. Held on to that this time. I would love to give you highlights in commercial break, but last week I sat on some during the commercial, and YouTube and the NFL didn't like that. But what I can do is go through the scoreboard around the NFL, and we will be doing that in commercial breaks. I can give you stats updates for your fantasy team. I can give you score updates as much as possible. And no ads. ESPN coming for me with the ads. Joe Burrow gets out the pocket, throws downfield. Nice throw. We're going to have a penalty flag. That's a big play to Noah Fant downfield. Be interesting to see if there was maybe a hold on Fant or maybe illegal contact. Hopefully there wasn't a push off. But if that play stands, that's going to be at least 20 yards for this Bengals offense. Illegal contact on the Jaguars. Decline. That is a big play to Noah Fant, who had a touchdown last week. And actually, the illegal contact was on Jamar Chase trying to make his turn. So it had nothing to do with Fant on the play. Bengals offense moving the ball downfield in Jags territory at the 31 right now, 1st and 10. Burrow in shotgun. Haven't seen him under center yet today. We did see that a few times last week. Oh, my goodness. I have never seen Joe Burrow Kenny Pickett a ball like that before. Went to throw it, and I don't know if he had a change of heart midway, but he lost the grip, and the receiver ran the wrong route, so he wanted to hold on to it, and the ball slipped out of his hands, but thankfully went forward and is rolled an incomplete pass. So, looked like it could have been a fumble, but obviously the arm going forward, ball going forward, they're going to keep possession of the ball there. 2nd and 10. Burrow, nice completion. Going to get about 6 yards here to T. Higgins. It's going to bring up a critical 3rd down here. About 3rd and 4, 3rd and medium for this offense. Trevor Lawrence, I think, probably feels that his defense is going to get a stop here because I just showed him grabbing his helmet. I got news for you, Trevor. You're not getting the ball. About 2.5 minutes left to go in the first quarter here. 3rd and 4, big 3rd and 4. Last week, the Bengals were 50% on 3rd down. 7 of 14. Jaguars looking like they're bringing pressure again. Burrow bails. Play nice ball over the middle to Jamar Chase. That's going to be a 1st down. New set of downs. Trevor, you can put your helmet back. Looked like Burrow was going to take off for a second there, and then I think he saw Chase easily had the 1st down at about the 15-yard line. Burrow making a nice throw over the defender downfield into Chase's arms. Chase gives you the 1st down. New set of downs here for the Bengals. Looking to tie this game. Last season, it says they were 5th in the NFL in the red zone. Let's get another touchdown here. Chase again. Chase is going to be near a 1st down. He may be about a foot short here at the 5. We'll see where the ball gets spotted. But this Bengals offense now finding some rhythm, getting the ball to Jamar. They're going to give them the first down. It is going to be a 1st and goal for the Bengals. Looking to tie this game at 7, currently trailing 7-0. A little over a minute left to go here in the first quarter. Mitchell Tinsley out there for this formation. Jamar with his 400th career reception is the 5th fastest player in NFL history to catch that mark. The give is to Chase Brown, and he's going to get a couple before Jacksonville gang tackles him. Be a 2nd and goal from about the 3. Last week, he did have a rushing touchdown on a nice run, as we see on the broadcast. Dalton Reisner, who came in last week for an injured Lucas Patrick. What a huge addition these late August signings were so far for this team, with Reisner and Fant and Mike Pennell. All played huge roles last week. Let's see if that can continue into this game. 2nd and goal for the Bengals. About 20 seconds, probably be the final play of the first quarter here. Burrow doesn't like it. Burrow scrambling. He's probably going to have to throw this ball away. Oh, incomplete. Higgins did get his hands on that ball at the pylon, but we've got an injured Jag here with 10 seconds to go. So the quarter's not going to end, but we may get a commercial break here with the injury on the field. 3rd and goal. While we are in the injury timeout, we are losing power here on this TikTok stream. Not exactly sure why we have no power. Stand by, give me a second. All right, so we're plugged in here, but we are using juice faster than we are gaining it. So interesting to see how long you guys will be with me. I'll stay on this live stream as long as possible. Let's take a look at the scoreboard right now. Giants leading the Cowboys 3-0. Lions with a 14-7 lead over the Bears. Rams and Titans in the second quarter. Rams leading 7-0. Patriots with a 12-0 lead over the Dolphins. We saw that game last week with the Dolphins, where the Colts, I think, were out to like a 23-0 lead. So bad things continue to happen for them. We have our injured player, Jerry Jones, off the field. Looks like we're going to, get our 3rd down. 3rd and goal right now. This should be the final play of the first half, unless we get a quick incompletion here. Travis Hunter on the field for this play. Typically, in this situation, I could see Joe Burrow looking at like an Andre Yoshiva he likes to go to Yoshiva in these scenarios, maybe Mike Gesicki. So 3-by-1 formation for Joe Burrow in the offense. Let's see how this goes. Pressure coming. Jamar Chase. Touchdown. Bengals. Oh, a little first gritty of the year. Give it to me. Let's go. Jamar Chase's first touchdown catch of the season. That's going to tie things up here with the extra point. Quick slant here. Jamar Chase beats the defensive back, was not any of their top guys. I don't know how you don't put Jordan Lewis or Travis Hunter on Jamar Chase in that scenario, but you know what? That's their bad. Evan McPherson's extra point is up and good, and with 7 seconds left, again, still not over. Still time left to go here in the first quarter, but the game's going to go to break. Let's take a look at. Let's go back and continue to look at what's going on around the NFL right now. We'll get you some more stats and fantasy updates here. We were talking a second ago, Patriots leading the Dolphins, shutting them out 12-0. 49ers lead the Saints 6-0. This is a game with Mac Jones as the starting quarterback for the 49ers. No Brock Purdy. He could miss up to 5 weeks with a pair of injuries he's dealing with. But Alvin Kamara, if you've got him on your fantasy team, you're getting 28 yards from him. Bills, big AFC East matchup. They lead the Jets 10-0. Mitch Trubisky is in the game, or has at least thrown a 32-yard pass. I haven't yet to see. I've been wrapped up in this game, but I don't know what's happening right now as far as why Josh Allen did not make that throw. So again, we are tied up here 7-7. Bengals about to kick off to the Jags here. They're going to take it out of the end zone here and upend it at about the 25-yard line. And Trevor Lawrence is going to get his third possession on offense. Again, 7-7 tie here. Jaguars now get the ball. They got the ball to start the game. So after both teams have had 2 possessions, we have a touchdown and a turnover for Jacksonville and a punt and a touchdown for the Bengals. 7-7. 3 seconds left in the first quarter. This is going to be the final play of the quarter. Unless it's not, because I think I've been wrong for 4 straight plays. Quick throw out to Travis Hunter. Sort of like a screen action on that. He's going to pick up 6 yards on first down. That's going to be the end of the quarter there. Let's go back to the scoreboard here and check out what's going on around the league. You know what? Instead, let's call an audible. Let's find out what happened to Josh Allen. Let's see what X is saying about Josh Allen. Hopefully no injuries. Fox Sports is saying Mitch Trubisky is currently in at quarterback while Josh Allen is being checked on the sideline. I guess Josh Allen had a long run or fell forward on a run, and he jogged off the field and immediately took his helmet off. He's holding his head down as if like his nose is bleeding, but I can't tell, and I can't really show you either because the NFL copyright claims. So Josh Allen with a long run in this game and went out of bounds kind of hard, and then had another run later, or I guess fell forward, and so we'll kind of just keep our eye on that. Obviously, that's huge implications in the AFC if he were to miss any sort of prolonged time. Again, 7-7 here. Bengals, Jaguars. Jaguars have the ball. They just picked up. It's the end of the first quarter. We'll get back to it as soon as Jacksonville picks back up again. Giants still leading the Cowboys 3-0. Russell Wilson with 153 passing yards already in this game. The Lions leading the Bears 14-7. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 3 catches for 82 yards. It's a good first half for your fantasy team if you have him. Jared Goff, 105 passing yards, most of those to the aforementioned Amon-Ra St. Brown. Rams and the Titans. Rams starting the season with a couple of AFC South matchups. Beat the Texans last week, which is good for Bengals fans. And leading the Titans here. So we are back from break, the start of the second quarter. Trevor Lawrence with the ball here. See how this goes. Would love to see a punt. We haven't seen the Jags punt yet. We've had a touchdown and then an interception in the end zone so far to start. 2nd and 3. Lawrence looking to pass again, has Travis Hunter wide open. Really, really soft coverage on Travis Hunter on that play. Was able to run up about 4 yards, be completely open on a stop route, get the ball, but the Bengals rallied to tackle him immediately. So that's going to give them a new set of downs here, as we hope to see the Bengals defense force a punt before they cross midfield, hopefully. Ball about the 38-yard line. End around here to De'Ami Brown, who's made his presence felt already early in this game. Gets about 7 yards. So early downs for Jacksonville so far in this game, they've been very successful. They're going to give him 9 yards. Excuse me. Bengals defense is really struggling to stop the Jaguars on first down at all. And that's what's led to these prolonged drives. We've seen a touchdown drive and then a 3rd and goal, which ended in an interception after a pressure from Trey Hendrickson and an interception from Dax Hill. And the run up the middle gets them a first down to midfield. So the Jaguars continue to pretty much do, for the most part, whatever they want. Game is tied at 7 apiece here. Second quarter, just over 13 minutes left to play in the half. Play action for Trevor Lawrence. Rolls out. Hits Travis Hunter for about 9 yards, maybe 10 if they give him the marker. Continuously doing whatever they want. Got to get a stop here on defense. Someone's got to make a play. We saw the one time they made a play, it led to a turnover. But other than that, it's been the Jags offense and Duval kind of doing whatever they want in this game. Let's go, Houday. Come on. Joe Burrow on the sideline would love to get a chance to come back out here. Trevor Lawrence under center. They're going to toss to Etienne, and he's got blockers, and he's got a lot of yardage here. Bumped out at about the 11-yard line, so about a 20-yard pickup here, maybe 30. Nobody, definitely not DJ Turner, going to make a play on that, as Brian Thomas Jr. really didn't do much on that block. 5 carries for 41 yards for Etienne in this game already. Another give to the running back here, and it's going to be about a 3-yard run here on 1st and 10. So they can get a first down at the 1 here. So it's not a goal-to-go situation yet. But again, inside the red zone, inside the 10 here, 3 drives in a row now. And Trey Hendrickson is the only guy that really wants to step up at this point. And he's on the sideline getting a breather because they're running the ball right down their throats. Trevor Lawrence with an alert. Looks to be changing the play. Bengals bringing pressure up the middle. They call for the screen, and it looks like an easy touchdown for Jacksonville. For Tootin. Bashal Tootin with the touchdown. Guys, gotta pick it up, man. Bengals brought both linebackers right through the A gap and the little screen to the running back from Virginia Tech, the rookie. Gets his first career touchdown. Easy money. So 3 drives for the Jags, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception in the end zone. We haven't come remotely close to anything that would be considered slowing them down. You got the turnover in the end zone after a quick pressure. Wow. I'd love to get another turnover too, but it's not happening. No crash outs. All right, game goes to break here. Speaking of crash outs, let's see. Let's check in on social media to see how Bengals fans are handling the 14-7. Maybe we also get a Josh Allen update here. Santino, Sample got his draws shook. Yeah, kind of did. Yeah, the Bengals defense so far today kind of looks like a scared tiger. Outside of the interception, a big stink ball from the Bengals defense. It feels so easy for the Jaguars. Yeah, it kind of does. 75 yards, 8 plays, just over 4 minutes, 8.3 yards per play. That's not where your defense. Bengals defense allowing 8.3 yards per play after 3 drives. During the Zach Taylor, this is according to Josh Kirkland, during the Zach Taylor regime, the Bengals have had 3 games entering today, allowing 8+ yards per play. They lost all 3. Yeah, you're going to lose games when you're allowing 8 yards a play. Oh, boy. Okay, Lucas Patrick, stop. They just scored a touchdown, dude. Chill. Liam Cohen is running circles around Al Golden right now. I love Al Golden, man. I was so excited about this hire. At this point, he has got to make some adjustments. We'll see if Al Golden can get the adjustments going here. Yeah, this looks like we're going to have to win a shootout. This is a very similar scenario to a game we would have last season, right? Where the offense is going to really – last week, the defense carried things. We may need the offense to carry them this week. Kickoff coming. Bengals take it at about the 1. We'll see the return here. This is Samaje Perine with a lane. He's going to take it out to about the 35-yard line before he just gets tripped up. So good field position here to start for Joe Burrow in the offense. We'll see if they're able to capitalize and tie this game up. On that last drive, Joe Burrow was pretty surgical. He had that one crazy play last series where he wanted to throw it, but he wanted to hold on to it, and it slipped out of his hands because the receiver ran. It looked like the receiver may have run the wrong route. But we'll see. Joe Burrow with a shoulder fake here, and just kind of dirt balls one to Chase Brown. There is a flag on the play. Maybe it's a hold on the offensive line. Maybe we get something downfield. Illegal contact by the defense. I'll take it. Travis Hunter called for that penalty. That's going to be 5 yards and a new set of downs. Travis out there smiling as he typically does, even when he gets penalized. (14-7) the score here. Jaguars leading the Bengals. Bengals on their 4th offensive possession of the game. Or excuse me, third offensive possession of the game. On 2nd and 10, they give us to Chase Brown, and he runs the ball up the middle for maybe about 2 yards. It's going to bring up 3 yards. We're going to call it 3. We're going to give him a second. Oh, that's right. The penalty. Excuse me. So 2nd and 7 after the first down run gets 3 yards. Travis Hunter, I think we have already seen in the game more snaps this week than he got all of last week already in the first half. Joe Burrow audibling here. Let's see if maybe we're going to take a shot. Burrow downfield. Yoshiva makes the catch, but they're going to say that he was pushed out of bounds by Travis Hunter. I can't tell you how freaking frustrating through 1.5 games these sideline throws have been. None of them have been completed. All of them are either receivers getting shoved out of bounds, bobbling balls out of bounds. Anything to the sideline so far this season has been incomplete. 3rd and 7 here for the Bengals offense. They've got to keep up the pace here. Burrow looks to be changing the play here. Play clock was rolling down. Got to call it burn a timeout. Bengals call their first timeout of the half on 3rd and 7. What's going on around? Chat, are you still seeing me on TikTok? Let me know. I'm getting... All right, out of the timeout here. Big 3rd and 7 for Burrow and the boys. Let's see if he can convert. Jacksonville's brought pressure all game. They do on this play. The ball is tipped at the line of scrimmage, but still makes it out. Looks like T. Higgins is going to box out the DB at the marker, and they're going to get a first down. That's a huge catch. What a play. That's strong hands. That's a strong hand play by T. Higgins, because the defensive back did have his hand on the ball before T was able to spin it back in. Josh Hines-Allen with the hit on the play on Burrow, but it was too late. Bengals get a first down at midfield. Looks like we may get a penalty on the Bengals here. Illegal man downfield on the screen. Nope. It's going to be a holding flag. First and 20 now, after the Bengals get backed up 10 yards. Allowing this Jaguars pass rush to pin their ears back, which they did. Burrow under pressure. Chase Brown can't hang on to the ball. That's a drop. Orlando Brown has had his hands full with 2 of the better pass rushers in the NFL the last 2 weeks, and he has not held his own. He has had a rough start to this season. He hasn't been able to really slow any of these guys down. Josh Hines-Allen is getting pressure on almost every play. We saw what Myles Garrett did. More pressure. Burrow dancing around, and this offensive line is just getting devoured right now by the Jaguars. They keep marching back. You're going to have a third and about 30. And I don't know if Burrow looks like he may have been a little dinged up on that play. Arik Armstead with the sack. So Burrow now sitting on the ground, holding his ankle. Literally the one thing that's about as worst case scenario as possible, as Burrow is clearly hurt, clearly frustrated, laying on his back, working on that ankle. Looks frustrated. He did get taken down, and it looked like Armstead rolled that ankle with his shoulder when he took him down. Nothing dirty or deliberate on there, just him trying to make a play. But as he grabbed and turned the shoulder to bring him down, looks like he may have rolled Burrow's ankle a little bit. Burrow looked pretty frustrated. So I'm guessing on a third and super long here, we're going to get a draw play or a screen, something with Jake Browning that's sort of, let's regroup, let's reassess the situation right now. Hopefully, nothing too serious here. Hopefully, Burrow can return to the game. Hopefully, it's nothing more serious than that. But we all kind of hold our breaths collectively and wait to see how things going. 14-7 game here. Let's take a look. Let's look at social media. How are we reacting to this? It's about the worst case scenario. Burrow takes about a fifth hit of the game, stays down, points at his angle. It's going to be Jake Browning. We talked about that. I think we thought this was the best offensive line Burrow's had his entire career. They're getting devoured through 6 quarters to start this season. Denzel Ward with an injury update. It's the score of that Cleveland-Baltimore game. Baltimore with the 10-0 lead on Cleveland. And now Denzel Ward questionable to return for the Browns. Not looking good for a team that had a lot of things to say this week about that matchup. And Bills out to a big lead on the Jets. Third and forever play. Jay Morrison says Burrow walked off the field gingerly. Jake Browning entering for this 3rd and 25 as the broadcast gives us a look here at Joe Burrow gingerly walking on into that blue tent to be looked at by the training staff. We're going to see Jake Browning here. I can't imagine this is anything more than just a nice little quick handoff to Chase Brown, who picks up about 5 yards and gets them in a better position to punt here. Jacksonville with a 14-7 lead here, a little under 8.5 left to go in the second quarter, and they've been able to do anything and everything they've wanted so far. For my TikTok viewers right now, probably going to cut this stream a little short here today due to some technical difficulties, as we're about to lose this stream here in a second due to power. I'm going to have to reassess whether it's a cable issue or but I appreciate everyone tuning in on TikTok for about a quarter and a half and staying with us as long as we have the stream. Again, 14-7. Bengals trail the Jaguars here in the second quarter. 8 minutes left to go. They are going to a quick commercial here. We don't do commercials. So let's look at the scores here. Again, we talked about the Ravens leading the Browns in the battle of 0-1 teams. Lamar Jackson with 68 yards and a touchdown. Don't have stats on Derrick Henry. Browns had a lot to say about Derrick Henry and the Ravens defensive backs so far, not really backing too much of it up. Seahawks do lead the Steelers 7-6 in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh was 1-0 after that come from behind win against the Jets last week. Sam Darnold with a touchdown pass. Things back in action here with the Jags on offense at about their 13-yard line. So good punt here. Incomplete on first down after the ball ricochets off Travis Hunter's. Didn't look like he was completely out of his route yet, that the ball had gotten up on him a little quick. And there's going to be looks like maybe a holding penalty. A legal shift, penalty decline. Bengals looking to take the down instead of what would have been about 3 yards, maybe due to the penalty with the half the distance penalty. 2nd and 10 from the 13. So Bengals get a rare win on first down here. Let's see if they can convert that into a punt here. Handoff. Short run, maybe about 4 yards here. Third and 6 here. Got to get a 3 and out. That would be a punt deep in their own territory. Bengals can get the ball and potentially drive down and tie this game before the half, where they will get so maybe even a 2-for-1 situation where they get the ball to start the second half. Showing some pressure here in the A gap pre-snap, but they bail out of it. There's going to be a penalty on the play and an incomplete pass, maybe an interception. Looks like Jordan Battle has the interception. That's going to be a turnover depending on what the flag is. Hopefully nobody was lined up offsides. Trevor Lawrence doesn't look happy. Penalty is on Jacksonville. It is declined. 2nd week in a row. A takeaway by Jordan Battle, an interception downfield. That was an illegal shift penalty that the Bengals declined. The pass was intended for Brian Thomas Jr., who stopped on his route because he felt the Bengals defense coming. Ball went straight past him to a waiting Jordan Battle. But here's the thing that Bengals fans do not want to see. They just showed a shot of Joe Burrow walking back to the locker room gingerly, limping on that ankle. So it is going to be and now he can't even walk on his own. He had to be helped by the trainer. So Jake Browning gets the ball and pitches it forward to Jamar Chase, who's going to get about 6 or 7 yards. That's a bad look. That looks like an ankle injury for Joe Burrow that could be a high ankle sprain, which would mean multiple weeks. He can't put any pressure on that ankle. He is literally holding on arm in arm with training staff, walking back to the locker room after he could not walk the entire way on his own. This is why you keep a guy like Jake Browning and don't trade him away when maybe the trade value was high, as they give to Chase Brown, as he gets no yardage there up the middle. So 3rd and 2 here. Bengals in field goal range, easy field goal range for Evan McPherson, but trailing 14-7. You got to get a touchdown. You have to take advantage after a turnover. Last week they got a turnover by Jordan Battle, and they were only able to convert it to a field goal. You got to convert those turnovers into touchdowns, especially trailing 14-7 here in the second quarter. Another give to Chase Brown up the middle. And it looks like with second effort, he's going to be able to fight forward for 2 yards. But that offensive line is not opening any real running room for Chase Brown at this point. The best run so far today was a sweep to the right on 3rd and 25 that was able to get 5 yards back, where the Jacksonville was basically giving him that yardage. But new set of downs here after the 2-yard run. You only need 2 and you get 2. That's a successful run First and 10 here for the Bengals offense. Chase Brown on the day, 7 carries, 25 yards. He had averaged 2 yards last week. He's averaging about 3.5 this week. Play action here. Browning rolling to his right. And looks like he's just going to have to throw it out of bounds after not being able to find anything before he would have lost about 8 yards running out of bounds. So smart play there with nothing open downfield. Throwing it away on 2nd and 10. Just under 5 minutes left to go here in the second quarter. Last time Jake Browning had to do this was a game where in Baltimore on a Thursday night where Joe Burrow tore cartilage in his wrist. Hopefully this injury isn't as bad, but Jake Browning sacked. Didn't see the pressure at all coming from the right side. Cody Ford in the ball game at right tackle. So clearly Amarius Mims, who had been a little nicked up, wasn't in at right tackle. And Trayvon Walker just beat Cody Ford like a drum on that play, bringing up a 3rd and 18. You cannot lose any more yardage here. You need to at least be able to get, big play here. Not going to get the first down, but going to be about 3 yards shy. Going to pick up about 15 on a nice pass to Jamar Chase. Let's see what decision Zach Taylor makes here. It's going to be about 4th and 3, trailing by 7. Do you take the points? And it looks like Zach is going to bring the field goal unit out here with about 3.5 minutes left. So he's going to put the onus here on the defense and just take some points here. I don't know. 4th and 3. I get it. If it's Burrow, you probably think about being a little more aggressive there. But without Burrow, you're going to need to think about being a little more aggressive and manufacturing your own points. How many times have we caught Zach Taylor on camera and you get this look where you're just kind of like, what is that? Like, is that frustration in himself? Is that frustration in his team? Either way, 14-10 ball game. They take the points. Hopefully they can get a stop and maybe get another possession with some time left, maybe even with a timeout left to get some more points before they get the ball to start the half. Let's take a look at some of this reaction on social media, maybe some reaction to the Bengals' decision, Zach Taylor's decision. The Bengals still refuse to give Burrow any elite offensive lineman year after year. I don't know about that. They spent a first-round pick last year on a tackle who wasn't in the game on this drive because for whatever reason was dealing with his own issues. Santino said take the points. Let's check on Joe. Coach Cam saying the best we can hope for is a high ankle sprain. A high ankle sprain and is going to mean that Joe still misses some significant time. And so what we're seeing here is not only is your starting quarterback out for an undetermined amount of time here, but your right tackle, your best offensive lineman, Amarius Mims, is out as well. Gridiron Grading, just a friendly reminder, Joe Burrow was given the bare minimum possible investment in his interior O-line. Also a friendly reminder that he relies on those players' protection more than any quarterback in the league. Mims is back on the sidelines, sitting on the bench with the other starters. So hopefully that means that he's available going forward here. So let's see what we need. We need the Bengals defense to step back up the way they did that last drive, which ended in a turnover. Still haven't forced a punt yet, but that's okay. I'll take a turn. I'll take two interceptions here. The Jaguars have had the ball 4 times. Half those drives have ended in touchdowns. The other half have ended in interceptions. So it's kind of an all or nothing for their offense and this defense. So we'll see what they're able to do here as Jacksonville looks like they're going to get the ball at the 30 to start with the touchback. Game update from Pittsburgh. DK Metcalf gets the touchdown and gives the Steelers a 13-7 lead against the Seahawks in Pittsburgh. 14-10 is our score here. Jacksonville leading Cincinnati in Cincinnati. The turnover battle, 2-0 in favor of Cincinnati. Usually teams that are winning the turnover battle like that aren't trailing. But like we said, big play on first down by Jordan Battle to break that ball up to the tight end. There is a flag on the play, so hopefully we get a hold here. There was pressure in illegal shift. And again, illegal shift is declined. So early on here, the philosophy on wins on first down. So 2 drives in a row, incompletions on first down with illegal shift penalties. Bengals have taken the loss of down as opposed to taking the yardage. So 2nd and 10, 3.5 to go here. Bengals looking to get a 3-and-out and get off the field and get their offense back on here. Delayed handoff here to Jacksonville and a short run here. Demetrius Knight with a nice tackle to stop that at about a 3-yard gain. So it's going to be a 3rd and long here for Jacksonville on offense. 3rd and 7. This is a down to pin your ears back. Etienne coming off the field. When Cincinnati has brought pressure, Jacksonville's been lucky to hit a couple of screens for big plays here, but we haven't had a sack yet. We've had some pressure lead to big plays. Big 3rd down here. Let's see what happens. Trey rushing from the other side on this play. Big play downfield. Even bigger play as the Bengals can't make the tackle. And a huge 3rd and 7 turns into a really big play for the Jaguars. They are going to be at the red zone here. Dax Hill loses the coverage, can't make the tackle. Jordan Battle can't make the tackle. All day in the world, all the time in the world to make that throw as they chip on Trey. 1st and 10, just outside the 20. Jaguars looking for points here. And Trevor Lawrence all day to throw. Oh, we got another interception. DJ Turner breaks up, gets his hand on the ball. Geno Stone gets the interception. Oh, my God. 3 interceptions in the first half for Trevor Lawrence. What a play by DJ Turner to get his hand on that ball and cause a ricochet. Oh, no. The ball looks like it's going to hit the ground, and they are not going to get credit for an interception here. Oh, it was fun while it lasted, right? Ball looks like it's going to hit the ground. Looks like the ground is going to help Geno Stone make that interception. Oh, that would have been such a huge, huge play. As of now, it's ruled an interception. We'll see if the officiating crew upstairs or I guess on the field, all turnovers are looked at. If they are going to give the ball back to Jacksonville, which I would assume is what's going to happen here, or if Bengals luck out, keep this turnover, and then get the ball on offense with Jake Browning. Again, Joe Burrow has left the game with an injury. to his ankle, could not walk back to the locker room on his own. He is being looked at by the training staff in the locker room currently. Jake Browning in at quarterback. Jaguars lead 14-10. As of now, in a commercial break, Bengals get the ball on another interception, which would be their third interception of the game. But replays look like the ball did hit the ground on that interception. Look at some scores real quick here around the league while they are looking at that. Giants leading the Cowboys 13-10 now. Lions with a 2-touchdown lead on the Bears. Goff with a touchdown. He has 115 passing yards. Titans and the Rams tied up at 10. Cam Ward with a touchdown. Puka Nacua with a touchdown. Dolphins getting on the scoreboard. However, they still trail the Patriots by 1. That score is at the break. They're at halftime. Patriots lead 15-14. Minute left to go in New Orleans. And the 49ers lead the Saints 9-7. About a minute to go in the half. At the Meadowlands, Bills at the Jets. How did the Jets get 2 home games in a row to start the season? They lead. The interception has been taken away. Come on, Gino. You got to make that play, bro. So Jacksonville keeps the ball here. Oh, we're going to have probably another illegal shift here flag. And Trevor Lawrence throws the ball out of bounds. But there is a flag. A legal shift is going to be the call. And so I would think that the Bengals are going to decline that. But we'll see what the penalty is definitely on Jacksonville. A legal shift again and declined again. So what we've noticed here, the Bengals' philosophy is to take the loss of down. If there's nothing happening, which they forced another incompletion on a legal shift, they're completely content to not take the yardage and just take the loss of down. So that's going to bring up a critical third down. So 3rd and 10 here for this offense. 1:47 left in the half. The Bengals can get off the field here. They force a field goal attempt and could get the ball with about a minute and a half left to go. Trevor under pressure. Trey, there's a flag on the play. Looks like it could be holding. Oh, now we're going to have a play hold in the end zone. Multiple penalties. So as we wait for the officials to figure things out, the worst case scenario would be offsetting penalties. But that throw by Lawrence, the officiating crew taking their time, trying to figure out. So 2 fouls. So there were 2 fouls, both on the offense. So they did say that the illegal forward pass so that with the flag in the end zone gets picked up because Lawrence was past the line of scrimmage when he threw the ball, so it doesn't matter. Oh, yeah, he was he was like 3 yards past the line of scrimmage. So it doesn't matter what happens downfield at that point. So what's going to happen here is all penalties are declined, and Jacksonville is going to come out and try and take a 7-point lead with a field goal. They currently lead 14-10. Going to be about a 42-yard attempt here for the Jaguars. So regardless of what happens here, Bengals are going to get the ball on offense with Jake Browning at quarterback and roughly a minute and a half and 2 timeouts left to go to try and get some points with a 2-for-1 situation, them getting the ball here out of the break. Bad snap, but they were able to get nice job by the holder to get that ball up. And Jacksonville adds 3 here. They lead 7-10 with a minute 35 on the clock. As of now, the broadcast hasn't had an update on Joe Burrow. We'll go to social media to see if any reporters. Looks like Amarius Mims, who missed that last drive. And we saw Cody Ford just get absolutely manhandled. He is going to be coming back out. But no big outlets with any reports here offering any updates. Gary Owen is hoping for a Willis Reed moment for Joe Burrow. But still being evaluated in the locker room. Kay Adams is having a little bit of a crash out on Joe Burrow being out of this game, as I'm sure a lot of us are internally hoping that Jake Browning did lead the Bengals to a win in Jacksonville when he started that season. Came in for relief during that season with Joe Burrow had the wrist injury. So hopefully we get some more Jake Browning magic here. Nice to have some going to the half. Look at some scores here real quick. Steelers lead the Seahawks 14-7. Ravens leading the Browns. Browns get on the board, but it is a 10-3 lead with 10 seconds left to go in the half, although it looks like Baltimore may be lining up for a field goal right before halftime. Bills with a big lead. Looks like Josh Allen did return to the game. They lead 20-3 with a game that is with just under a minute left to go. 49ers lead the Saints 9-7 with Mac Jones at quarterback. Patriots at the break leading 15-14. Titans have tied the game up with the Rams. They are 10 apiece with 16 to go here. And it looks like they could be lining up for a field goal to potentially take the lead into the locker room. Lions leading 21-7. Looks like we're getting back to some game action here in Cincinnati looks like we're about to get a kickoff here. Again, Joe Burrow is currently in the locker room with an ankle injury being looked at. No update from the broadcast or from media around the league. And a nice return a second nice return in a row from Samaje Perine, who's going to get them across the 40-yard line as the Bengals look to desperately add some points here with Jake Browning at quarterback and a minute and a half to go in this game. And, of course, the stream goes down, so we'll check. All right, we are back here. So 1st and 10 for the Bengals offense. Browning swings one out to Jamar Chase. And Jamar Chase is loose down the sideline. He's going to pick up about 25 yards after a broken tackle. Bengals, with a minute 22 left on the clock and 2 timeouts, are in serious Jags territory after Jamar takes that basically a screen out into the flat. Got to find ways to get Jamar Chase the ball because big things always happen. 1st and 10, Jamar with 7 catches for 88 yards and a tutty in the first half. Bengals 1st and 10, minute 22 left on the clock. Bengals trailing the Jags at the 17-10 as they start from their own 35. The Jags 35 here. Browning back to throw again. Back shoulder look to T. The ball goes out of bounds. Little too back shoulder on that one, as T was unable to slow down enough and come back for the ball. Good coverage on the play, but just a little too short for T to get turned around and stop in time. So 2nd and 10, minute 18. Jaguars lead 17-10. Got to pick up some yards here. They're in manageable McPherson territory. Another screen to chase here, and this one is going to lose yards this time as Jordan Lewis makes a nice tackle. Going to lose about 2 yards here. One thing I do remember during the Jake Browning era a couple years ago is I think that was the strongest the Bengals have ever been running screenplays with Zach Taylor. The play calling completely changes with Jake Browning, and they do run a lot of screens. So 3rd and 11, they're just going to give him a 1-yard loss here at the 36, just shy of the 37. But don't want to take a sack here. Would like to. Intercepted. God, that was a terrible pass. That was a horrible Jake Browning throw. Wasn't even close to the receiver. Oh, man. Yoshiva stops his route, but he wasn't going to be anywhere close to making that catch. It was all bad. It was all bad on both sides. It was about as ugly as a throw you could make. And the fact that Yoshiva just stopped a route in the middle of running downfield, just completely stopped, not because he had found a zone. He was in man coverage. He literally stopped his route. So Jags get the ball with a timeout in 26 seconds. They go empty. They look like they're going to try and, knowing the Bengals are going to get the ball here to start the second half. Some pressure on Lawrence, flushing him out. He's going to have to run. He unloads one downfield. Deflected and incomplete. Travis Hunter can't catch the carom, although he had a shot at it. But threw a jump ball downfield. Bengals break it up. Nice play by Cam Taylor-Britt to get his hands on that. And it literally hit Travis Hunter in the stomach, and he had 2 hands on it, but he couldn't control it. As the ball hits him in the stomach and falls to the ground. 15 seconds left here. I'd imagine Jacksonville. Now it looks like they're going to be out of shotgun and run a screen here to De'Ami Brown, and he's going to get about 7 seconds. Not going to call their final timeout. Looks like they're going to be perfectly content to take this ball to the locker room. Down 7. The worst case scenario on that last drive, Browning throws the interception when they're in field goal range. Could have had points there. Osai with a nice rush on that last play. Almost had the sack on Trevor Lawrence, but Lawrence was able to wiggle out of that. So we go to halftime. 17-10. Bengals trail the Jaguars. Big story, obviously. See if Zach Taylor gives any sort of update. And there's no chance he has one, but he is getting the sideline interview. So Zach is saying nothing to do with Jake Browning on that play. I think he's just kind of defending his quarterback. He might be pissed. He should be. Yoshua stopping that route, but Andre had no chance to make that catch. That ball was going to still sail over his head. I'm not sure Zach obviously had the replay look at that. Halftime, Jaguars lead 17-10, 1-possession game. Bengals do get the ball to start the second half. We'll see if that's a possession with Joe Burrow at quarterback. He left the game in the second quarter after taking another hit. Took probably about 5 hits in this game as the Jags defensive line owned Cincinnati's offensive line for much of that first half. And Joe Burrow takes the sack, gets his ankle rolled by Arik Armstead, and not on a dirty play at all. Just sort of a play where the defender grabs your ankle and is just looking to take you down, rolls the shoulder a little bit, and Burrow initially got up, dropped back down to his feet, which is a bad sign, holding the ankle, spinning the ankle, came off the field on a third and super long where the Bengals just kind of gave up on that drive. But as Burrow went to walk back to the locker room, was walking back with a trainer with no help, no cart, with a noticeable limp, and about halfway to the tunnel or so, couldn't do it anymore. Needed to prop himself up on the shoulder of the trainer, and immediately a second trainer sprinted down, and eventually Burrow was on the shoulders of two trainers, not able to put any, not wanting to put any pressure at all on that ankle. And cameras showed them in the tunnel with the same thing, going all the way to the locker room, no pressure on that ankle. Definitely not going to speculate on the severity of the injury. We don't know. There hasn't been an update from the game broadcast. There hasn't been an update through NFL insiders on social media. Still waiting to find out what the latest is on that injury. 17-10, the game is at half. Jaguars lead. Let's get graphical here. As we are waiting. So I have to always verbally so again, we are awaiting word on Joe Burrow. And the status and severity of his injury. Didn't look good when he couldn't put pressure on it. Couldn't put any weight on it going to the locker room. And again, I will not speculate on what types of injuries. Obviously, it's an ankle injury. We know that. Won't speculate on the severity of it. Either way, Jake Browning came in and had the Bengals driving, especially after a nice catch and run from Jamar Chase. But that third and long on that drive from their own 36 was snuffed out by a bad Jake Browning interception. And so the Bengals get no points. However, they will get the ball to start the second half. So a touchdown ties the game if they can take that opening drive downfield. Let's go through some scores here at halftime of this game. Also at the break, Giants, Cowboys, 13-10. The Giants lead at halftime. Not sure that's a result or a score that most people saw coming, but still early. A lot like maybe most people didn't see the score we have in Cincinnati coming, but still early. Obviously, a lot hinges on the health of number 9. Bears about to go to half here. Lions could be in field goal range to get a quick field goal before and go up 10 before the second half. 2 seconds left. Looks like Jared Goff just spiked the ball with 2 seconds left. I would assume the Lions are most likely bringing out the field goal unit, but with Dan Campbell, you never know. Titans lead the Rams 13-10 at halftime. Cam Ward with 123 yards and a touchdown. Tony Pollard with 53 yards on the ground on 12 carries. So Titans running the ball pretty well. Third quarter, second half action already in Miami. Dolphins trail the Patriots 15-14. And we have an update. They just made a field goal. So Miami, with their first lead of the season, after trailing the first 6 quarters of the season, Miami leads 17-15 over the Patriots. Tyreek Hill with 4 receptions for 87 yards. Tua Tagovailoa, 173 and 2 touchdowns. At halftime, 49ers on the road with Mac Jones at quarterback, and Mac Jones with 151 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. The Bills, they're at halftime. They lead the Jets 20-3. James Cook, 10 carries, 83 yards, 2 touchdowns. Josh Allen, who had his own injury for a second, did come off the field and go to the blue tent, but did return to the game. Bills leading big at half. Third quarter action in Pittsburgh. Steelers lead by a touchdown. They lead 14-7. Sam Darnold with a touchdown pass for the Seahawks. Aaron Rodgers with a touchdown pass that he threw to DK Metcalf. Jonnu Smith has 51 yards on 6 catches. A game that's just about to kick off here in the second half. Ravens-Browns. Ravens low-scoring game lead the Browns 10-3. Joe Flacco with 93 yards passing. Browns rookie second-round pick Quinshon Judkins making his NFL debut. He has 20 yards on the ground, 6 carries for 20. David Njoku, 4 catches for 40 yards. Low-scoring game there. The game was 10-0 Ravens at one point, but was before the Browns. So CBS broadcast just saying, still unknown whether Joe Burrow will be back on the field in the second half, whether he's getting taped up. I would assume even if we do see a taped up Joe Burrow, which I think we're all hoping for, it's going to affect some of that mobility. He spoke this week about one of the things he hoped to do this week was to be more mobile, to get out the pocket and use his legs to help make more plays this week, where he thought, it sort of stifled the offense last week, and he was looking for that to be something to help improve this passing attack. Again, we are at the half. Jaguars lead the Bengals 17-10. Bengals do get the ball to start things off here in the second half. Still at halftime. We can take a look here real quick to see if there are any updates on social media in regards to So Jake Browning, it looks like, is the first player out the locker room to start this second half. Also sounds like Joe has a toe injury. Still haven't yet to see where that's being reported. Okay, so Paul Dehner Jr. is calling this a left toe injury. His return is questionable. We know that typically when teams update, a questionable means they're not returning. So I would assume we are seeing Jake Browning the rest of the way here. Did not think we would see a toe injury, but man, as we continue to kind of scroll through, again, we'll not speculate on the severity and on any sort of duration of how long this injury could take to return from today, or as it turns into a week-to-week situation. Jake Browning has got to be the guy to do it. As we look at some of this video we talked about earlier, where Joe could not put any sort of weight on that leg. Sorry for any bad language there through that. But we're streaming. Who cares, right? Some positives. The turnover bug, man. The Bengals get 2 turnovers, 2 interceptions, almost a third. Geno Stone was so close to having a third pick, which would have prevented the Jaguars from kicking that field goal that gave them a 17-10 lead. So turnovers still haven't forced a punt, unfortunately. So for the Jaguars offense and the Bengals defense, it's either been a scoring drive or a turnover. And I'm sure in Jacksonville's locker room, they're probably saying right now, they can't stop us. We're beating ourselves. The Bengals got to be thinking, look, we're forcing these turnovers, but they got to do a better job of forcing punts. I haven't seen enough forced punts the first 6 quarters of this 2025 NFL season, and we look to just as the teams are coming back out on the field here and lining up for kick, the offense sluggish, no sort of running lanes today. So after a first couple drives last week that saw a potent rushing attack, we're seeing a lot of what we saw last week in the second half in regards to the run game. No sort of run lanes for Chase Brown. Some hard 2 and 4 yard runs. Got 1 5-yard run. As we get the kick to start the second half, it's Samaje Perine bobbles it, fumbles it upfield, and is so fortunate to fall on top of it downfield. As the Bengals are going to start the ball. He did have 2 great returns in that second quarter, but that ball hit him in the chest, and it ricocheted forward, and he was able to chase it down and jump on top of it before the Jaguars. I think in the old rules where that team would have already been running downfield, that's an easy turnover. And thankfully, nice, sort of a nice hole there to give Chase Brown about 4 yards before first contact there. So you're going to give him 5. So that's a nice run on first down here with Jake Browning out again. What the Bengals are calling a toe injury, questionable to return for Joe Burrow after he took a sack in the first half. A lot of the social media and fan discourse and analyst and reporter is gonna go back to the bare minimum the front office has placed on the nice spin move after first contact by Chase Brown. He's able to get 6 yards and a first down up the middle. We're going to need more of that as this Bengals offense looks to lean on the weapons around Jake Browning, and the run game has to be the first thing. So nice spin move after hitting the line about a yard deep, and he gets 6 yards and a first down as the Bengals continue this opening drive of the second half, trailing 17-10. Browning back to throw. He's got Jamar Chase. Nice throw to beat the coverage. 25 yards to Jamar Chase. He's already over 100 in this game. So they're in a cover 2 look here. Nice hole shot downfield right before the safety, but before the corner could come back up and beat them. Little toe drag swag. Jamar gives the first down symbol. And we are in Jags territory here at the 40. Pitch to Chase Brown. Oh, he got tripped up at the line of scrimmage. Probably going to end up getting about 3 or 4 yards as he flew forward, but he was this close to some serious yards. Nine carries for 36 yards for Chase Brown, and good majority of that coming on this drive here. Maybe about half of that. Browning back to pass again. Jamar Chase, first down. It's going to get them to about the 25-yard line. So almost to the red zone. New set of downs for the Bengals offense. Nice pocket there for Browning. Not sure why Joe can never get some of these clean pockets, but nice clean pocket. Jacksonville was content to drop 7 into coverage, not bring any extra rushers. And Chase found the hole. He's got 10 catches for 120 yards and that lone Bengals touchdown. Swing this one out to Jamar. Breaks a tackle, and he's got another first down. So what are you going to do when your star quarterback is out? You're going to force feed the best player on the field, regardless of position. That's Jamar Chase, without a doubt. And he is going to break a tackle and get another first down. So 11 for $130. Last year, the Bengals in the second half, 0-4 in games trailing. Oh, what a catch, Mitchell Tinsley. One hand with a defensive back all over, and they're going to give him the touchdown. The ref's going to say he stayed in bounds. He had a cornerback draped all over him, reaches out with one hand, 1 foot. I don't think he gets that second foot in, makes the catch, gets 1 foot. No, he only gets 1 foot. So what's going to happen is they're going to give him, they're going to take away the touchdown, and they're going to give them the pass interference in the end zone and place the ball at the 1. But we continue to see Mitchell Tinsley make these insane one-handed catches, which we saw in the preseason. Unfortunately, his first touchdown as a Bengal looks like it's going to get wiped off with the challenge. Is that second foot? They're saying the shin is good. I didn't even see the shin. They're going to give him the touchdown. We are kicking the extra point with an attempt. And we got a tie game. What a play. Jake Browning, Mitchell Tinsley, a one-handed touchdown. That is Mitchell Tinsley's first touchdown as a Bengal. We've got a tie game. All tied up. Wow. I didn't think he got the shin down, to be completely honest. But it doesn't matter what I think. It only matters what the officials thought, what the replay booth thought, and they thought that the shin was in. I wish I could show you multiple replays here, but again, can't show you the NFL footage. Got a copyright ding last week for doing that. All I can do is try and describe it as best as possible. And Jake Brown floating a nice ball to the corner of the end zone. Mitchell Tinsley grabs it with one hand with the defensive back all over him, which received a penalty flag. There was a penalty for pass interference, which obviously the Bengals declined. Tinsley gets the first foot down as he was in the air, and the second heel hit out of bounds. But what the replay and the officiating crew determined was that the shin of the foot that hit out of bounds came down in bounds before the rest of his body hit out of bounds, and the shin counts. And just like a hip counts, the shin hits, and that's good for 6. So the Bengals tie the game up. They take the opening drive of the second half downfield by feeding Jamar Chase, some nice runs with Chase Brown, a nice complete drive altogether. gets the Bengals into the end zone to tie the game up 17 apiece in the third quarter. Now it's time for the defense to build upon some of those positives we talked about at halftime, forcing turnovers, getting some pressure, not enough, but they're going to have to get their fair share of pressures. Maybe we can see something we saw last week in the second half where they really ratcheted up the pressure from the front four. We saw Shamar Stewart get back there. We saw Trey Hendrickson get a sack. No sacks yet for this defense in the game in the first half. The Jaguars looking to get their first possession as we get another look from another angle at, there it is. There's the shin that hits inbounds. You see the orange. You see the pellets. Yep. That's a great angle right there. Mitchell Tinsley with the touchdown ties it up. Jake Browning's first touchdown of the season as he fills in for Joe Burrow. If you're just joining here and you have no idea what's going on, Joe Burrow has left the game with what is being called, we all thought it was an ankle injury. He was grabbing his ankle. He is questionable to return with a toe injury. Not going to speculate on the severity. Not going to guess. We still have yet to see anybody chime in on social media in regards to insiders about that injury. Oh, nice coverage here. And they're going to stop the Jaguars shy of the 20-yard line. It's going to be 1st and 10, probably about the 18-yard line. All knotted up at 17 points apiece. Jaguars getting their first possession of the second half. If you were joining me earlier on TikTok, sorry that the TikTok stream, we were having some technical difficulties, had to end just prior to halftime. Hoping to get that back up in time for the fourth quarter and the fantastic finish of this game. ETN gets a carry and is probably going to get about 5 on first down. One of the warts we saw in the first half was Jacksonville had a lot of success, especially on those early drives on first down. And that's what, perpetuated these 9-10 play drives with a lot, just to go back to a lot what we saw in the first half with Cleveland last week. Bengals did in the second quarter start to get incompletions on first down, which eventually led to drives getting snuffed out. But Jaguars get a nice run. So they're going to call it 4, 2nd and 6. Another carry here. Bashan Tootin this time. Bashal. TJ Slayton make the stop, but he's coming off the field. It's going to be a 3rd and 2. Typically, wonder if he got dinged up there on that, but he was able to run off the field. 3rd and short, typically you'd like a guy like that on the field. You want all your beef, but maybe Mike Pennell's coming in. Huge 3rd down here. Would love to see a 3 and out to start the second half. Jacksonville going empty here on 3rd and 2. Back to pass, some pressure. And he's hit as he throws. That ball is going to be incomplete. Still waiting to kind of see what the ruling is, because his arm was hit. Are they going to say he was hit? Now, we did get a clear. They allowed the clear recovery. Now, are they going to call that an incompletion, or is that going to be ruled? So they're going to say that is an incompletion, 4th and 2. Either way, Bengals get the 3 and out to start the half, something they had to have, something they really were hoping to get. Didn't get a lot of. I don't think we had 1 3 and out in the first half on defense. So a huge play to start, especially coming on the heels of that game-tying touchdown drive, as we're tied here at 17 all apiece. Charlie Jones takes this at his own 11 with some room to run. He's going to get about so they go to the break here, commercial break, but let's update this score here graphically for you guys. So that you can have a score up at all time, and I'll try and be better at updating those as they go. Let's see if the Pro Football doc has weighed in on things. Typically, he has a pretty good feel for seeing these injuries and then being able to determine severity and Dr. David Chow. Let's see if he has chimed in here. So David Chow just said that the need for an MRI means he's not returning, right turf toe. Severity will determine. So again, he did not want to look at want to speculate, I guess, the severity of things, which is always sort of the wise thing. It's never by jumping to conclusions and being wrong, you're not really helping anything. You didn't really do anything but sound dumb. So I'm not going to speculate on severity. If I see a report, I'll pass it along. We obviously know he went in for an MRI. He is questionable to return according to the team, and it is a toe injury and not an ankle as we initially thought. Game is back from break. We're looking for a drive here to take the lead. Nall knotted up at 17 here in the third quarter. Bengals defense forces a 3-and-out on the Jags' first possession of the second half. Would have loved to see some 3-and-outs in that first half, but we'll take what we get here. Forced 2 turnovers, almost a third, and now get a 3-and-out. So if Al Golden has made some adjustments and started to figure out how to defend this Jacksonville offense, we'll take it. We're going to need it. We're going to need some points here if we want to take the lead. Bengals taking over here at the 23-yard line with Browning in shotgun. Andre Yoshivas does make that catch. That's another 12 yards. That's a first down up to the 35-yard line. Browning did throw a first half interception on a drive where it looked like they were in field goal range, looking to score some points on a ball that maybe was intended for Andre Yoshivas. Baltimore getting the update here is doing what I think most people thought. Now up 20-3 on Cleveland. So the Browns getting a little bit of a taste of their handoff to Chase Brown, and he's going to barely get back to the line of scrimmage. You're going to have to be consistent with trying to run the ball with Jake Browning at quarterback, because if you just allow teams to think that he's just going to be back there throwing every play, it's not going to go well. Browning hits Noah Fant on a ball out the sideline. Short gain, maybe about 4 yards, going to bring up a 3rd and 6. On that previous touchdown drive, we saw a lot of balls to Jamar Chase. Earlier in the first half with Browning in, we saw a lot of screens to Chase, just trying to get him in the open field. One he broke for a nice gain. Another lost a couple of yards. Browning, 10-13 for 123 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception at this point. Going empty, assuming they're going to bring pressure. Browning forced to roll out, looking downfield, and he is intercepted again for a second time today. Wingard with the pick, running down the sideline. And Browning throws his second pick of the game. That's going to knot up the turnover differential at 2 apiece. Had Gesicki, but did not see Wingard dropping back into that zone. Would have been a nice play downfield to Gesicki. Kind of just didn't see the defender continuing to drop, and he undercut that route. Would have been a big first down. So now 2 interceptions apiece for both sides. Zach talking to Jake Browning on the sideline. Trevor Lawrence is going to get the ball here. Jags with a nice return, have the ball to start at the Bengals 30. Hand off, and a nice, Shamar Stewart was in the backfield. Would have been a 4-yard loss, and just let's go. Can't make the tackle. Shamar Stewart, man. We talk about it all the time. You're such an agent of chaos, and you get back there, but brother, you cannot finish a play to save your life, man. Come on. It is you gotta get so much talent. Finish a play. We've got to see you finish these plays. You get back there, and we're seeing all these great pressure numbers, but we're not seeing tackles for loss. We're not seeing sacks. We get a nice false start here on the Jags offense, which is going to knock them back. Shamar, finish, brother. Finish. So 2nd and 10 here. Screen here out, and looks like they might get that penalty yardage back here. It's going to bring up like a 3rd and 5, maybe a 3rd and 6. Third and 4. Huge 3rd down for this defense. Game tied up at 17. Jaguars just shy of the red zone at the Bengals 24-yard line. Handoff. And he fights forward. Looked like they initially had contact with him at the line of scrimmage. Broken tackles, not finishing. A theme today. Jaguars in the red zone here, 1st and 10. 5 minutes left to go here in this 3rd quarter. Bengals defense desperately looking to hold to a field goal, maybe even get another turnover. End around here to Etienne. He picks up about 7 on that play. First downs are killing this defense. First downs, nothing. They're getting. I don't know if the markers on the field are off, but he was stopped a good 3 yards shy, and they're giving him credit for 9. They're giving him 9 yards. So either the field marker is wrong, or they're routinely getting an extra 1.5 to 2 yards. How is that one? That's easy touchdown for Etienne. Well, I would love some automated graphics. How do I get that package? So as we tick down in the third quarter and the Bengals trailing, it's not we're going to have to bring up Zach Taylor has never won a game with the Bengals in week 2. And his record in weeks 1 and 2 is really bad. The last time the Bengals won a game was Marvin Lewis's in week 2 was Marvin Lewis's final season as head coach in 2018 when they beat the Ravens on a Thursday night in Cincinnati. Still a lot of game left to be played here. I'm not trying to assume that that's the way things are going to go down, but you're in a dogfight right now, or a cat fight based on Bengals and Jaguars, and need to be better here. Thanks, Mustafa. Appreciate the love. We are still in a timeout here. It's time to go around, look at some scores around the NFL. Cowboys have finally taken the lead in the third quarter. They lead the Giants 17-16. Things are really getting out of hand in Detroit. Lions leading their former offensive coordinator Ben Johnson and his Bears 31-14. Not a lot of offensive magic for that Chicago offense as they trail by 17 points pretty early in the third quarter. Rams back out in front in Tennessee on the Titans. They lead 19-16. Dolphins still leading the Patriots 20-15 in Miami, looking to go 1-1 on their season. San Francisco leads the Saints 19-14. Mac Jones in for an injured Brock Purdy, who started this game. Mac Jones did start this game. Brock Purdy is expected to miss a few weeks here, I think. But Mac Jones playing good football with a pair of touchdown throws for San Francisco. Bills all over the Jets, 23-3 at the Meadowlands. The Seahawks have tied the game up in Pittsburgh. They are knotted up at 14 apiece, and the Ravens sort of running away from things with about 5 minutes to go in the third. They lead 20-3. Getting our kickoff here as the game returns to action. Samaje Perine catches this one cleanly, has a nice little lane. Oh, trucks a defender. He's still on his feet. Gets out to about the 37-yard line. Samaje Perine has been the best returner in this game so far. He's had three get at least past the 35 and one even get to the 40 to give the Bengals pretty good field position. There is a flag down on the play, so we'll see if he got a little help on that. 4 minutes left to go here in the third as the Jaguars lead. Oh, we are getting a post-play penalty, a personal foul, unnecessary roughness, so tack on another 15. Not sure what happened on that play. As the play is pretty weak. A little bit of a retaliation here on the linebacker, Yasir Abdullah, who gets called for 15 yards on an unnecessary roughness as they were still in the pile on the ground. Bengals take over in Jaguars territory. Hand the ball to Chase Brown, and he's going to get the ball for about 5 yards on that first down carry. As the broadcast is now making us relive pretty much our worst nightmare for the day, and that is the toe injury to Joe Burrow, which saw him limp off the field, unable to put any sort of pressure on that toe. Still being called questionable return. So we get a second down carry to Chase Brown on 2nd and 7. He gets maybe a yard, going to bring up 3rd and 6 in Jags territory. At about the 45-yard line, it'd be curious to see whether or not Zach Taylor is in 4-down territory thinking here, trailing by 7, not wanting to let things get out of hand. They're going to call this a 3rd and 5 here at the 42-yard line. So kind of in no man's land here. I would think they're in 4-down territory as Browning's going to pass. It's going to go downfield to T. Higgins. Big catch, stays on his feet, and that's a touchdown. T. Higgins breaks a tackle and takes that one in for his first touchdown of the season. Touchdown, Cincinnati. T. Higgins wins clean off the line, ball downfield. Takes a huge hit from the safety Wingard who made the interception. Bounces right off of him because T's the bigger man. Got a nice little celebration. And Evan McPherson is going to come out looking to tie this game up with an extra point. And Evan McPherson's kick is good. So we are getting that shootout. So 24-24, about 2 minutes left to go in the third quarter. Let's see how people are reacting to this online as we head over to X here to get sort of the Bengals pulse to shout out Mon and Coach Jake here. How are people feeling about that score? We get a little T from afar, a lot of T. Browning's been on a roller coaster, but Higgins beats Tyson Campbell for the score. Jake Browning led the NFL in completions, completion percentage in 2023. He's 11 for 15 with 2 tutties and 2 picks. He'd like to have back. Bengals tie it up. Bengals receivers putting on a nice display here. Tea time, touchdown time. A lot of love here, a lot of highlights. So the offense, Bengal thing, wondering why the offense looks completely different. Honestly asking why. The unknown factor with Browning. Kinsey chiming in. This is going to be a shootout, and it has been. 24-24 in the third quarter here. The Jags did send the house at Browning, stood firm in the pocket. Bengals did a good job of keeping him clean enough, and he delivered that touchdown to T. Higgins. 42-yard touchdown. Yep, this game is drunk. Rebecca Toback saying some Bengals fans need to have a little more faith in their team. We're all sad about Joe, but let's root for Jake. Absolutely. Got to root for Jake. Chad Johnson, love the inside release, and T getting into the end zone. So we are back here. Nice coverage there. Jaguars are going to take over at about the 25-yard line. 2.5 left to go in the third quarter. This game knotted up at 24 points apiece. Trevor Lawrence coming back out for another possession. Their first possession of the second half was a 3-and-out. Bengals hoping to get – nope, we're getting a report from the field, but nothing on Burrow at this point. I would assume we're not going to know anything until Monday at the earliest. He's already undergone in the MRI. Handoff and a powerful run that's going to get them about 8 yards right up the gut. So if I sound like a broken record, it's because
first downs have been huge for the Jaguars offense. 4 interceptions in this game, 2 by starter Trevor Lawrence and 2 by backup Bengals quarterback Jake Browning. 2nd and 1 for the Jags offense. So we were seeing this clock tick down to under 2 minutes to go here in the third. Fumbled snap by Trevor Lawrence. Is able to pick it up and may have got across the line. Needed about 1.5 yards and just sort of dove forward for anything. Looks like they're giving them the first down and giving him the yardage here. But almost disaster. But lucky enough to fall on it. Lucky enough his offense got enough push up front. He was able to just sort of dive forward and pick up that necessary yardage. So first down. First down, swing it out here. Demetrius Knight, nice tackle in the open field. Going to be a short gain, yard and a half on that. It's going to bring up 2nd and 8. You're going to give him credit for 2 on that play. But nice play. Demetrius Knight Jr. had to sprint to the flat, made a great tackle in the open field, and shut that play down immediately. Trevor Lawrence, 17 of 28 for 209 yards, does have 3 touchdowns and 2 picks on the day. Bengals looking to add to another pick to that list here as he goes back to throw, has an easy completion over the middle. That's going to get them just across the 45 and across the first down line needed to gain. That looks like that's going to be the final play of the third quarter. As look like they're trying to hurry up here with 9 seconds left. Going to get the ball. They're not going to get the play off. 2-1. That's going to be end of quarter here. So end of the third quarter, and this game is knotted up 24 points apiece. If you've been able to look at what's happening on social media, if you've been unable to follow along on this stream early, if you're just joining, Joe Burrow, Bengals quarterback, left the game in the second quarter. He is ruled questionable to return with a toe injury, walked off into the locker room, needed the help and to lean on the shoulders of trainers after trying to walk off on his own without the use of the cart. He has questionable return, which most likely means we are not going to see Joe Burrow the rest of the day. So he went back to the locker room. He got an MRI. We'll probably have to wait until either tonight or tomorrow morning to sort of have a better handle on the severity of the injury, how much time he could potentially miss. We will not speculate on the channel here in regards to those types of things. I'm not a doctor, and it doesn't do me any good to guess and then eventually be wrong. So we'll just keep our fingers crossed and our hands together and hope for the best for Joe Burrow's health. In regards to the game, what we've seen is what Jake Browning did in 2023, and that's come in relief for Joe Burrow and start throwing some touchdowns around. Now, he does have 2 picks. He's got a pair of touchdowns and a pair of picks. But we're all knotted up here at 24 because Jake Browning has hit T. Higgins for a score and Mitchell Tinsley for a score. Made a great one-handed catch for a touchdown. Jaguars currently have the ball. They're going to start the fourth quarter in Bengals territory. Bengals looking to hold them to a field goal or maybe get another turnover. Trevor Lawrence has thrown his second and third interceptions of the season so far in this game. So we're looking to capitalize on another turnover potentially or force the Jaguars to a field goal attempt. Game still in commercial break. As we come right back, just as we say that, commercial break is over. Cincinnati outscoring Jacksonville 14-7 in the third quarter to knot things up. But Jacksonville has the ball, in their own territory at about their 46-yard line, and a first down run. Dax Hill makes the play, gets the stop at about the line of scrimmage, and they're going to give him probably about a yard on that. So it's going to be 2nd and 9. Oh, the Browns score a touchdown on a lucky tip. This week, the tips go their way as a defensive back, Marlon Humphrey, gets his hand on a ball that lands in the receiver, in the hands of their own receiver. Browns get the touchdown. They trail 20-10. Play action fake here by Lawrence, and he's looking to go downfield, has a guy wide open. That's Brian Thomas Jr. That's going to get them into Bengals territory and a first down. Brian Thomas Jr. gets up a bit of a limp. But, again, loses DJ Turner on the crosser. Geno Stone comes over and makes a nice tackle to bring him down immediately, but they still get the first down yardage. Jaguars into Bengals territory with a first down. We are in the fourth quarter here, all knotted up at 24 apiece. Brian Thomas Jr., 3 catches on a day. We're multiple penalty flags. Look like we're going to get some holding here on the pitch to the receiver who is coming across in a jet sweep. Oh, nope. We're getting a face mask on the defense who were trying to fight. It was Osai trying to make the tackle. We only seem to get face mask called on our team. Ever notice that? But Joseph Osai gets called, so instead of a short gain, they get 15 yards. And this Jaguars offense. So an update on Joe Burrow. He has now been ruled out. I don't think anybody thought any different. So Jags offense just inside the red zone. Bengals looking to get a hold here at best. Screen. Etienne, 77 yards on first down. Demetrius Knight tracking him down, stopping that from getting any worse. But again, big plays on first down. Bengals nemesis early on in this season. BJ Hill, Osai coming off the field. Shamar Stewart and Miles Murphy are your edges on this play. I haven't called Miles Murphy name much, if at all, in this game. Nice run to the outside. He's going to pick up 4 yards and a first down. Jags continuing this drive. Would really like to stop them as they line up for first and goal. We have an injured Bengals player down, and that's Shamar Stewart holding his ankle. So if the injuries couldn't get any worse, Joe Burrow has been ruled out for the game with a toe injury. And now Shamar Stewart unable to put any sort of pressure on his ankle, on his foot. Shaking his head at trainers, holding himself up on, to keep his weight off that leg. As we look at the replay here, and it looks like he may have got stepped on by a teammate here, but he can't put any pressure on it, literally on 2 shoulders, hopping on 1 leg. He's headed out of the game, most likely to the locker room, but we will, at the very minimum, he's headed to the blue tent. But based on the fact that he couldn't put any weight on it, we could see another situation where a player's going back to the locker room for an MRI. All right, first and goal for the Jaguars. Still got to play defense here. We still are playing this game all tied up at 24 apiece. Trevor Lawrence with the play fake rolling out. And the Brian Thomas Jr. makes the catch. However, DJ Turner pushes him out of bounds in the air and is unable to come down. As we take a look at the replay here with the push, one toe, but the other foot is clearly out of bounds. Would love for them to challenge this and lose a timeout, but yeah, not even close. I may not even got 1 foot in bounds, honestly. Second and goal, though. Got to see some more pressure in the pocket on Trevor Lawrence. Would love to see something up the middle here. Trevor Lawrence comes back under center. Play action. All day to throw. Drop. Woo, we'll take it. De'Ami Brown looks like he could have had his second touchdown of the game. Drops. And now DJ Turner is now on the ground. Gingerly getting up. Let's see what he was. DJ Turner was the man in coverage on that play, and Brown had lost him. Oh, Turner rolls his ankle. Oh, my God. So another Bengals player on defense with a rolled ankle. Didn't look too severe. He was able to walk off on his own. Third and goal. Looking for a big stop here. Hold him to a field goal attempt would be huge. Bengals fans getting loud. Ball is at the 7-yard line. See if there's any pressure here. Trey Hendrickson on the field. Lawrence back to pass. All day to throw. Oh, almost intercepted. Jordan Battle able to break that pass up to Brian Thomas Jr. Huge play by Jordan Battle. And that is going to bring up a 4th and goal. That is the second time today that Brian Thomas Jr. has heard footsteps. And now we have Geno Stone gingerly walking off the field. In the last 3 plays, we have seen Shamar Stewart's ankle stepped on, come off the field. DJ Turner roll an ankle, come off the field. And now Geno Stone gingerly walking off the field. The Bengals defense here looking at a lot of injuries here, potential injuries. Not to mention your star quarterback with a toe injury out for the rest of the game. So the Jaguars field goal is good. They currently lead 27-24. Just under 12 minutes left in the half here. Or excuse me, in the game, in the fourth quarter. Bengals have not led at any point in this game today. It's been a lot of Jaguars took the opening possession downfield, scored a touchdown, and we've had several ties, but no lead changes at this point, other than the Jaguars taking eventual leads. Nice drive for the Jags defense. Nice hold despite all the mayhem and the injuries going on for the Bengals defense on that last drive. Shamar Stewart and DJ Turner both look like ankles, and Geno Stone, it's unknown. He was walking gingerly off the field to end that drive. However, a goal to go stand for the Bengals defense holds Jacksonville to a field goal. So it is a 27-24 lead for the Jags in the fourth quarter. Jake Browning's thrown a pair of touchdowns. We'll see if he can get a third one here on this next drive and put the Bengals ahead for the first time today. They are looking to win their first game in week 2 in the Zach Taylor era. They haven't won in week 2 since 2018, a win over the Baltimore Ravens on a Thursday night with Marvin Lewis as the head coach at that time in his final season. Back from break, maybe we can get another. Samaje Perine on kick return today. If you take away the one that ricocheted off his chest aside, he has 3 returns that have gotten past the 35-yard line, one that got them all the way to the 40. So field position has been a premium for this team, and it's helped lead to 24 points for them. So we'll see if we can get another nice return here and let the Bengals offense cook from there. A lot of orange. If you're at home and you're wearing your orange today, what jerseys are you wearing? Guys wearing orange? You guys watching? What do we got today? What are we wearing? I threw on the orange hat. I didn't realize I didn't have an orange shirt, so I threw on the orange hat. What are we wearing at home today? Let me know in the chat. All right, Samaje with another return here. Another return to past the 35. Bengals kick return team, the blocking has been outstanding today. And Samaje Perine has looked really good, hitting these holes hard and getting the Bengals really good field position for Jake Browning. So Tinsley with some 3 Bengals touchdowns today, all 3 to receivers. Burrow had one of them. Browning had 2, 1 to Chase, 1 to Tinsley, and 1 to T. Bengals on offense, looking to cook here. The first play goes to Chase Brown, and he's met in the backfield for a loss. It's going to be a loss of 2, bring up a 2nd and 12. The Bengals rush offense, we're still looking for that big run. We're still looking for that signature, 20 to 30-yard run we haven't had yet this season. It's been tough yards for us. And we got a deep ball here, just overthrows Jamar Chase. He had a step on him. I don't know if Jamar would have been able to catch that and take it to the house, but he definitely had a step on him. May have eventually gone out of bounds or been pushed out of bounds after catching it. X24R, no word on Burrow other than it's a toe injury. He has been declared out by the Bengals for the rest of the game. Did undergo an MRI. I guess we're waiting to find out. Maybe have the results tonight, tomorrow morning. Tried to hit T. Higgins on the slant. Nice play by the defensive back there. And that's going to be a 3 and out. So we're going to really lean on the defense on this drive. Yeah, I don't know why Browning's looking to hit that slant there. At no point was T. Higgins ever open on that. It might have just been a play where he just predetermined the read ahead of time and was looking to go for T to win that route or maybe even get mugged. There was some contact on that, but probably less than 5 yards downfield, so you're not going to get that penalty flag. Ryan Rico out for the punt, and he bombs one downfield. Hopefully we can get that ball to stay in play. And a nice play downfield. Jags are going to take over between the 11 and the 12. Rico with a nice punt. Remember that punt he had last week to pin the Browns all the way back inside the 5 to end the game. Bengals need that defense to step up here. Hopefully get a 3 and out. No points. Broadcast showing another look at this. Looks like DJ Ivy down. No, that's not DJ Ivy. All right. Bengals trail 3, looking for their defense to rise up and get them the ball back. First play is a delayed handoff, and Etienne gets about 4 yards here. It's going to bring up a 2nd and medium. Going to give him credit for 5 on that play. So a 2nd and 5. Will the Bengals dial up some pressure? They need to manufacture a stop. Will Al Golden, send some people? Trevor Lawrence in shotgun. When he has sent pressure today, they have been burned by it. But here's a play downfield, and Brian Thomas Jr. and Trevor Lawrence definitely not on the same page because he wasn't even really looking back for the ball. But it was good coverage. CTB, who had pretty good coverage, has had a couple of nice plays, breaking up one ball in the end zone. So, can they force a turnover? A turnover would be huge here to get them the ball back in plus territory. I would take a defensive stop. We love to see a punt here. 3rd and 5 for Lawrence. Do they dial up pressure? They're definitely showing it. They're showing it in the A gap. And here it comes. Pressure and a huge completion to De'Ami Brown. Easy money there and a first down for the Jaguars offense. They're going to be out at about the 35-yard line or so. Thank you.
What a game.
Joe, did it break?
We don't know what the extent is. He's just out, not returning.
Jake's doing good.
2 touchdowns. All right, so Bengals desperately need a stop here, and that's a nice stop for about a 1-yard gain on first down. So we're getting an update from the broadcast on Shamar Stewart. Shamar Stewart, like we kind of feared when he couldn't put any weight, any pressure at all on that ankle, he is in the locker room being looked at by the Bengals medical staff. So a 2nd and 9, desperately looking for a Joseph Osai pressure, Trey Hendrickson, maybe BJ Hill. Bengals got to find a way to get heat. And a nice tackle after a short gain here. Dax Hill makes a tackle. So another 3rd down for this Bengals offense. A 3rd and 4. I don't care how they do it, whether they allow a short catch, rally, and make the tackle. I'll take an incompletion, whatever it is. They can't continue to let the Jaguars get these first downs and bleed this clock, take over the field position. Got to make a stop here on 3rd and 4. Trevor Lawrence, quick slant. Brian Thomas Jr., first down, easy money for them. Seven and a half minutes left in this game. Jaguars, new set of downs. He gets a bleed about another 2 minutes off the clock at least, barring a turnover or some incompletions. First down handoff, is they're completely content. I mean, if you're going to get 5 yards on every first down carry, who's going to be the one? Who's going to be the player that comes up, makes a big tackle, that makes a big stop? And I mean, even if they're Logan Wilson hits the running back after a gain of 1, and he still gets dragged for another 2-3 yards. We're not seeing any of these just stops where 3rd and 2 here. I would imagine they're in 4-down territory at the Bengals 46.5. Trevor to throw. Can't make the catch. 4th and 2. This is going to be interesting. What type of coach is Liam Cohen? Now, he's the type of coach who's going to bring his quarterback off the field and punt, trust in his defense. Maybe with Joe Burrow at quarterback, he's a little more aggressive, but he's content to not risk turning the ball over, close to midfield, and they're going to punt and try and down the Bengals. So just over 6 minutes, 6:09 left on the clock. This is a huge punt. Can he down him within the 10-yard line, or do we get fair catch call for at the 12? So 6 minutes left in this game. What type of aggressiveness do we see from Zach here? All right, the game is in break. Let's go to the scores. Let's see what's going on around the NFL right now. Take a look at the scoreboard. I'm curious to see, especially what's happening out in Pittsburgh. All right. Ravens all over the Browns, 33-10. The Seahawks have jumped out to a huge lead, 31-17, a 17-point fourth quarter explosion for that offense. They lead the Steelers 31-17. Pittsburgh has the ball with under 2 minutes, but that's a huge hole with under 2 minutes left. That game looks like it's going to be a huge win for the Seahawks. The Bills' defense was in it to win it today, man. They're holding the Jets down to 3 points, a 30-3 lead over the Jets in the Meadowlands at MetLife in New Jersey. Josh Allen, a pedestrian day, 148 yards, but James Cook, 132 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns. That's huge. 49ers Saints, close game. Saints have the ball with 6 minutes left. Similar to what's happening in this game, but they trail 26-21 to the 49ers. Mac Jones starting in the place of injured Brock Purdy, 253 yards through the air and 3 touchdowns. Alvin Kamara for the Saints has 100 yards on the ground. Juwan Jennings with 85 yards for the Niners and a touchdown receiving. The Patriots have taken the lead in Miami, and they lead the Dolphins 30-27. Tua with 2 touchdowns in the air. But again, the Patriots lead, have outscored the Dolphins in the second half, 15-13. Rams now all over the Titans. 6:45 left in that game. That looks like that's going to be a Rams road victory over the Titans. And the Lions all over the rival Bears. Their former offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson. Jared Goff, 300 yards, 4 touchdowns through the air. And the Cowboys lead the Giants 27-23. We are back from the timeout here in Cincinnati. Bengals with the ball. 6 minutes left to go. Trailing by 3. Let's see what they got in them. Browning going to pass early. Nice pass over the middle. Jamar fights for the extra yards. That was a 6-yard pass, and he just fought through 3 defenders and pushed them upfield for 11 and a new set of downs for this Bengals offense. Browning having to cover his ears. I would hope that the Bengals fans, I know you're excited. Jamar just got a first down. Take it down a notch. Chill. When the Bengals have the ball, let your quarterback hear the play call. Jamar Chase, big day today, 142 and that touchdown. Browning fakes the pitch, was trying to hit Noah Fant on an out in the flat, but the ball was incomplete. Didn't really look at any point like they were on the same page for that. Browning looked like he didn't really have confidence in the route that Fant was running in that and just sort of tossed it out there. Great question on how the Bengals – I think the Bengals need to be aggressive. Like the Browning back to throw. He's Looking over the middle, and he is picked. Browning throws his third interception of the game. All right, 5 minutes left to go. As bad as that is, they hold Jacksonville to a field goal here. And with some time left, I mean, Browning just didn't see him. He's the defensive back or the linebacker was literally waiting for that ball over the middle. That's a nice tackle by Chase Brown to prevent the score because a touchdown in that game in this game is over. Here's the thing. The Bengals really needed a long drive there because they have so many guys that left that previous drive on defense with injuries. We can't have people hitting the escalator already. Got to hold them to a field goal here. ETN with the handoff. Dax Hill's going to make a huge play in the backfield. They're going to lose about 7 yards on that play. Or 4, whatever. Jacksonville looking to bleed the clock out. But Dax Hill, great pursuit. Catches ETN deep in the backfield for a loss of 4. Hold him to a field goal, and a touchdown still wins the game. Have to hold him to a field goal. Also, the clock ticking can't allow them to bleed you for another first down. Lawrence, incomplete. De'Ami Brown has it go off his hands, but the coverage was tight. That stops the clock. So 3rd and 14 saves some time for this Bengals offense. Got to get off the field here. 3rd and 14. We saw some 3rd and really longs converted last week. Got to get a stop here. Liam Cohen chewing out his quarterback for where he's placing the ball. The Jaguars can get a first down at the 2-yard line. That is where they're looking to get to. Instead, they hand off, and they're just happy, completely content to bleed some time. They can kill about 35 more seconds off the clock, so they can take it down to 3.5 minutes here before they attempt the field goal. 4th and 5. So they're leaving the offense up 4th and 5. I get this. So they're at the 7-yard line. They can get a first down. They can get a touchdown. Ends this game. They're back to pass. Trevor Lawrence dropped. Brian Thomas Jr. drops the ball. Bengals are going to get the ball back, only trailing by a field goal. So that's the risk there of not converting that. Is now a field goal can send this game to overtime. If he would have kicked. Now, Brian Thomas Jr., that route was run so low, he might not get to the first down marker and still turn the ball over there. So the drop is terrible, but they may not convert that based on where they threw it. Regardless, it is still a 3-point game. The Bengals can still tie. They can still take the lead and win it. 3:42 left on the clock, a full array of timeouts. Let's see how this goes. And Browning with a really bad back shoulder throw to T. Higgins. Browning's in a really tough spot. Obviously, he's a backup. Doesn't get the reps all week. Hasn't had the reps of a starter all summer. And then he's forced to just kind of come in there and win a game, right? 3 interceptions today is tough. You'd hope he's not turning the ball over. 2 touchdown passes. We need some Jake Browning magic right now. Jaguars showing like they're going to bring the house here on this play. Let's see what they do. Some of them back out here. Browning going deep downfield. Yeah, I think I think we've been we're being a little too aggressive here. That ball wasn't going to be, even if T. Higgins caught that ball was going to be caught out of bounds. 3rd and 10. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what they do here. Let's say they get 8 and it's, 4th and very short. I know you got the 3 timeouts plus the 2-minute warning, but you haven't done a good job of getting consistent stops. Browning checks it down to Sample. And that's going to be really shy. 3:22 was a really, really. All right, 4th and 3. I think you got to go for it, and you hope if you don't get it, you hope you hold them to a field goal. 4th and 3, but we need to be a little more urgency here on offense. I know there's 3 minutes left. Fourth and 3 here. Huge down for the Bengals. Chase Brown, first down, big catch. All right, gets out of bounds, going to stop the clock with 2:40. He's going to pick up about 15 on that play. Now we're moving. Catches the ball, had the first down yardage. He's going to be just shy of the 30. But Chase Brown, that's what we've thought he gives you in this offense, is a back that can catch the ball. Browning to Fant out in the flat. I don't know what that gives you. That gives you nothing. He's tackled for no gain at the line of scrimmage. I know you like Noah Fant's ability to run after the catch, but at that point, you need to get him running downfield. That's where his yak comes from. He's not a throw it out into the flat and make a guy miss. This is going to be the final play unless there's a quick incompletion before the 2-minute warning. Gesicki is going to get about 6 of that and going to bring up like a 3rd and 5. And we hit the 2-minute warning here, trailing by 3. So now we are all go. I mean, I know we went for it on 4th down there, but there's no turning back now. We're in 4-down territory. It's going to bring up a 3rd and short to 3rd and medium here for the Bengals. So it's going to be a 3rd and 5 at the 2-minute warning. They're at their own 33. A field goal ties it. A field goal could send this game to overtime. Obviously, we want to win the game. A touchdown gives them the lead and most likely wins the game, depending on how quick they score or not. Trevor Lawrence, 271 yards and 3 touchdowns passing today. 2 costly interceptions, one in the end zone, which took a touchdown drive away from them. For Jake Browning, his game today had to come in relief of a Joe Burrow that left the game for good with a toe injury. Jake Browning is 16 of 26 today. 2 touchdowns, but 3 interceptions. He has been sacked 1 time. Chase Brown on the ground, 14 carries, 42 yards, 3 yards per pop, coming off last week's 2 yards, is improvement. But we need to go back to the drawing board, because through 2 weeks, whatever we're doing on the ground really isn't working, other than that first drive in Cleveland last week. In terms of receiving stats, Jamar Chase, 12 catches, 142 yards, a touchdown. That's on 14 targets today. He's been the most targeted player. He's the only player to see double digits in targets. T. Higgins, 8 targets today. However, only 3 catches for 56 yards, including that 42-yard touchdown. There have been a lot of plays that have kind of not been on T. They've been downfield and thrown sort of out of bounds on balls that he really was unable to make a play on. Mitchell Tinsley with a catch for a score on that 13-yard touchdown. As we come back from break out of the 2-minute warning. Hoping for the best, holding our breath a little bit. They can still get the call in. The green dot quarterback still gets under 2 minutes, still gets the play call into his ear. 27-24. The red line target is looking like the 36-yard line for the Jaguars. So about 20 yards to go here to get in that range. Or, excuse me, about 35 yards to go. Browning pressured, forced out, looking downfield. Flings it to the sideline, but it is broken up going out of bounds. And that is going to bring up a 4th and 5. So looking to make another 4th down conversion here. We've already converted a 4th and 3. This 4th and 5 is huge. He tried to get Yoshi on the sideline, but the ball was sailing too far out of bounds. The defensive back was all over him. That completion wasn't going to happen. He was being pressured as it was. All right. 3 receivers on the field today, on the field for this play. 4th and 5. And they're going deep. And there's a penalty flag on the play. Travis Hunter batted the ball away, but he wasn't looking back. Are we going to get a pass interference on the rookie on 4th down? Pass interference on Travis Hunter. That is not only a 1st down, that is going to put them in Jaguars territory. We are cooking now. It's interesting to see. I'm not sure where the ball is going to be. So 1:49. Jacksonville still has 3 timeouts. So now you kind of got to kind of go back and forth. They are at their 40. They're going to be at Jacksonville's 42-yard line. So not in field goal range yet. But Jacksonville can still call timeouts if the Bengals do get in range. Chase Brown over the middle, picks up some yardage as they get closer to field goal range. One thing about Jake Browning, he is a touch passer. So some of these balls over the middle that he's been throwing are getting picked off because there's no sort of zip on him. And there's a nice play to Jamar Chase, gets out of bounds just shy of the 20. Bengals are in clear field goal range. Now they are in striking distance of a touchdown. With 1:20 left in the game, the flag was for pass interference earlier in this drive on Travis Hunter on that 4th down play. That gave them an automatic 1st down at the Jags 42, if you were wondering. So the Bengals are going to have 1st and 10 just shy of the red zone in clear field goal range. 1:20. It'll be interesting to see what Jacksonville does with their timeouts here as they try to keep some clock for themselves in case the Bengals tie it. Gesicki, 1st down over the middle. Now they are just shy. They're going to get the ball at the 11-yard line. So Jacksonville is not calling their timeouts. They are allowing this clock to tick down, which is very interesting. If I were them, I would be trying to save some clock of my own. Bengals are already they don't need the clock anymore. They're in field goal range. They're close enough to where incompletions. Yeah, so Jacksonville did call a timeout there. Jacksonville is going to be doing everything they can now to keep time on the clock. So now Zach Taylor and if the Bengals kick a field goal, they'll most likely have bled Jacksonville's timeouts. Hopefully not throwing any incompletions, and bled some time off the clock, and then tying the game up, leaving, very minimal time for Jacksonville to go back down and try and kick a field goal of their own. However, if they score a touchdown on this play, then Jacksonville has 2 timeouts, and then Jacksonville still needs a touchdown to take the lead because that'll give the Bengals a 4-point lead. We're looking at a touchdown here. We're looking to try and score. All right, big catch there for Jamar Chase. That is going to force Jacksonville to use a timeout. That is going to be a second down. They're going to be at about the 5-yard line. Cincinnati can still get another first down if they get the ball at the 1-yard line. If they get the ball at the 1-yard line, they can theoretically bleed all this clock and either play for overtime or try and get the ball into the end zone. The last time these two teams played was a Monday night in Jacksonville, and Jake Browning led the Bengals to an overtime victory over the Jaguars. Are we getting some Jake Browning late game magic again? 2nd and 4. 1:04 left on the clock. Bengals still have all their timeouts. Jags have now had to burn 2 of their final 3 timeouts. Bengals have the ball just inside the 5. Do they run the ball hoping to burn a timeout? And they do. Chase Brown gets up. Are they pushing? Are they going to get to the – if he gets to the first down yarder marker at inside the 1, which it looks like he may have just done, that's going to get really interesting. Jaguars burn their final timeout. So now, let's say they have 1st and 10 and the Jags have burned their first timeout. You do now they're looking at if potentially he pushed it across the goal line. So 1st and goal. So they are just a few inches away from a score. Now, do you play? Here's what you can do. You can snap it and have Browning quarterback push, but not get in. Take a knee just shy and bleed 30 seconds off the clock and call your own timeout. Now you have 3 chances to score a touchdown from inside the 1. They quarterback sneak. However, there's a penalty flag on that. Hopefully that is not an illegal formation to back them up 5 yards. Offsides on the offense. Oh my God. Offside on the offense. Oh, God. So back them up 5 yards. So instead of being inside the 1, they're at the 5-yard line. 1st and goal. Now you run the ball again and hope to get that yardage back. And then you can take a timeout of your own. So they're going to get about half the yardage back. Now you can bleed the clock to about 20 seconds and call your own timeout. And know, now I'm taking shots at the end zone. Let's see if he lets it go all the way down to 20 seconds. So at 24 seconds, Zach Taylor is using a timeout here. So it's the ultimate 2nd and goal now. You've got at least two plays to try and score a touchdown here from roughly the 3-yard line. Jacksonville has burned all their timeouts. For Jacksonville, they're either getting the ball, we're either going to overtime or they're losing. Unless they're able to force a turnover. Even an incompletion, not the end of the world here. Bengals are looking to take the lead here for the first time today. 25 seconds left in this game. 27-24, Jags lead. 25 seconds left. Browning to throw. Gesicki catches it. And he's going to be just inside the Let's see. One official saying inside the 1. 3rd and goal, literally just inside the 1. And Cincinnati, the Bengals burn their second timeout inches away from the goal line. So now we are back to where we were prior to the penalty, but now you've got 3rd and inches. You can try that sneak again. You may have 2 downs. You may, if Zach Taylor does, it's going to be interesting. If they don't get in on 3rd and goal, if they run a quarterback sneak and get stuffed, what do you do? They still have 1 timeout. They will most likely let the clock go all the way down to 2 seconds. He will either try and push that ball in and win it on the final play. Here we go. 3rd and goal from inside the 1. And Browning's in over the top. Touchdown, Bengals. 18 seconds left on the clock. Jacksonville, no timeouts. With 18 seconds left in the game, Browning has led them downfield and given them their first lead of the game. An extra point gives them a 4-point advantage, forcing Jacksonville to have to go the length of the field in 18 seconds to score a touchdown. This extra point attempt by Evan McPherson is huge. As I'm doing my best Scott Hansen impression. All right, here we go. Evan McPherson looking to put the Bengals up 31-27. Woo! Bad snap. Great job by Rico to get the ball up. Great hold. Evan McPherson knocks it through. Holy crap. Bengals lead 8 with 18 seconds left on the clock. Their first lead of the game. So instead of Browning trying to just power it in through the middle, he did the Drew Brees, where you stop and then you go up and over. And that was good enough to get them into the end zone to give them their first lead. Holy moly. What a drive from Jake Browning. That drive started at their own 12-yard line. He took them 88 yards in about 2.5 minutes. Holy moly. Now the defense, you are quite welcome. And join us every week. We're going to be doing these watch parties, except for the primetime games. All right, McPherson's kick is going to be a touchback. 18 seconds for the Jags to get in the end zone. So Trevor Lawrence obviously has the arm. No timeouts. So no sideline plays. You don't want to see any big defensive pass interference type penalties. He's got to go 18 seconds and get in the end zone, not a field goal. So that extra point, scoring that touchdown instead of getting the field goal, was ginormous. So happy to have you guys here on the stream. Hope you're enjoying it. Feel free to like this video, to subscribe to this channel. Constantly putting out fresh new Bengals content, interview content with celebrities. Oh, Trey Hendrickson with the sack on the final play of the game. That's why you pay him that money. That's why you need him on this team. That's why it was so important to have a guy like that. That's a guy that closes games. And that's what he did. They're going to say they got the final playoff. And here we go. 1 second left. They say they got a flag on the play. I'm going to say it was illegal formation because they weren't lined up properly. But here we go with all the laterals. And the ball's out of bounds. And that's it. Barring a defensive penalty, the Bengals are moving to 2-0 on the 2025 season. They are winning their first Week 2 game under Zach Taylor. That's it. The play is declined. We are at zeros. Bengals win 31-27. What a crazy, crazy finish to this game. Trey Hendrickson with the huge sack to really just put the, and as I'm trying to update a graphic here, he did. He sure did. Trey Hendrickson gets the sack, beat his man so bad right off the snap, almost forces the fumble. But with the sack, the Jaguars had no chance really to get the ball hiked in proper formation on time. Trey Hendrickson closes it out. Jake Browning comes in relief of an injured Joe Burrow, who we are all hoping the best on his prognosis as soon as we find that out. But from Cincinnati, a huge 31-27 victory. Bengals move to 2-0 on the season. So with the loss by the Steelers, the Bengals are the last undefeated team in the AFC North. And that's barring a miracle. I am assuming that the Steelers lost as they were down big in the fourth quarter. I'll go to the scoreboard here real quick. And yeah, they did. The Seahawks go into Pittsburgh and beat the Steelers 31-17. The Ravens win 41-17. So the Steelers and Ravens 1-1, Browns 0-2. Your Cincinnati Bengals are alone at the top after 2 weeks. It's still early, but something we haven't seen in the Zach Taylor era. This is the first time Zach Taylor has started his season at 2-0. Lots of things to still clean up, obviously. Lots of things to enjoy. Obviously, lots of things to hold your breath about in regards to the health of Joe Burrow. We do not know at this point the severity of the injury. We do know that in the second quarter, he left the game with a toe injury. Went back to the locker room, did get an MRI. We are still waiting results to be released on that. I'm sure the team has them at this point and may be just holding on to those and figuring out how to disseminate that information. But what happened? Jake Browning comes into the ball game in the third quarter, in the second quarter. And look, it wasn't all good for Jake Browning. It's kind of what you would expect from a quarterback who did not get to practice all week with the team, get these starters reps, let's say. So obviously coming in cold and in relief and in sort of, he came into the game and it was 3rd and 25, so he was just coming in for a handoff. But what we saw from Jake Browning took a lot of confidence and some huge stones, man, to come in and do that. 21-32, 241 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, now 3 interceptions. He did get sacked once. A passer rating of 69. No one's going to be happy, including Jake, about that. However, the 2 passing touchdowns were amazing. The play by Mitchell Tinsley to one-hand that ball and then get a shin inbounds on the sideline before going all the way out. What a huge play by a guy that most people didn't know existed before the second preseason game against the Commanders, where he had his coming out party to the world. I'm sure not a lot of Bengals fans thought he would make this 53-man roster. What does he do? They need him in the second game. He comes up with a huge catch, a huge touchdown to tie the game at that time, and eventually give them a fair amount of the points needed in order to get this victory today. The Bengals get the ball back with just under 3 minutes, with 3.5 minutes, convert a 4th down to Chase Brown, and then go downfield 88 yards. And on 3rd and goal, from just inches away from a score, Jake Browning with the sneak, not the tush push style, not the shoulder in, but the Drew Brees hezzy and then throw the ball over the goal line, gets the touchdown. So you give the rushing touchdown. So Jake Browning contributes for 3 touchdowns on the afternoon, 2 through the air and a really big one on the ground. The Bengals never led at any point in this game until that touchdown with 18 seconds left. Now, they tied it a handful of times, but at no point did Cincinnati have a lead today. They come up with a huge 31-27 victory. Look, say what you want about the 2 teams they beat. Jacksonville looks like they're going to be a tough team with a lot going for them. The Bengals are 2-0. It doesn't matter when it comes playoff time. When we're looking at who's getting in, we're looking at the standings, ugly wins, come from behind wins, whatever. Wins are wins, and we will celebrate them on this channel. We'll celebrate them in social media, and I guarantee you they are celebrating them in that locker room. Wow, 2-0, a huge come-from-behind victory, and then what can you say about what this team did to close that thing out? Trey Hendrickson with a huge sack that basically sucked the life out of that final drive. And now the Bengals get to go to Minnesota next week to take on J.J. McCarthy and the Vikings. Will they have Joe Burrow at quarterback? We don't know yet. We're all waiting to find out. Will they have Shamar Stewart, who left this game with an injury and went back to the locker room in the second half? How are the potential injuries to DJ Turner and Geno Stone? How dinged up is this secondary? We'll find out. We saw a couple of really big plays from Dax Hill. He had an interception in the end zone and had some really nice tackles in the open field. Will we be counting on Dax Hill more next week? Either way, it's time to celebrate this Sunday. Celebrate until next week. Get ready for a big, big game against the Vikings. The Vikings, let's see. So what have the Vikings done? We know they had the nice come from behind win last week, but what is their schedule? When are they playing? They are the night game against the Falcons. Okay. They play tonight against the Falcons. All right. So we'll watch this game. We get to kick back, grab a drink, kick back, watch the game, maybe get a feel for who Minnesota is. Not sure. We know who they are after how they played against Chicago last week, where they had to kind of come from behind on that one too. But hey, like we say for us, wins are wins, wins are wins for them. I'd like to, again, thank everyone who tuned in on TikTok for a bit. I'd love to thank everyone who rode with this on YouTube. So happy that you came in on the stream. Please give us a subscribe if you like what you're seeing. I promise there's more Bengals content throughout the week. There is celebrity interview content where we do these Mount Rushmore lists where we're talking about things that they're passionate about, whether they're sports topics, music topics. Lots to see on the Sova Says channel. I'm your boy, Ryan Sova Yunt. Wow, what a crazy, crazy stream. Thank you so much for rocking with us. Bengals are 2-0. We'll see you on the next stream. Have a good one.